Hi, welcome to the tutorial where today we talk about Fallout and you will learn nothing.
Okay, so I'll let you know when I hit record.
Sounds about right.
I hit record, by the way, about 15 seconds ago.
Thanks so much for your on-time, helpful situation there.
Welcome to the tutorial. Hey, there's
all I need now.
Welcome to the tutorial where today Ringo's microphone likes to cut out on him and we can't hear half of what he's saying.
Yeah.
You just need to get all up on that microphone like it's ASMR. That still actually did not help.
Do you have, Ringo, do you have noise canceling, or do you have, like, noise reduction on? Is that a thing?
I'm going to start quoting Joe Rogan and being like, get that sucker by the fist from your face.
Does this help? I turned noise suppression off.
It probably will help.
Okay.
It's weird because that means that Discord considers your voice just noise.
Right. I can do it too now.
All right. What was that noise?
That was him cursing.
What did that sound like to you guys?
It just sounded like he cursing, basically.
Does it sound like the f***ing that you say when you say words?
I guess so, sure.
This isn't network television.
Right, we have like the
Man,
thing.
Yeah, why do you need to like fucking
Man, you. Don't tell me
This
how
is
to
a
run
Christian
my
Minecraft
show.
server. Watch your language.
Pussy.
It still makes me uncomfortable when said like that. Do you have any? Okay.
So today we're supposed to be talking about Fallout,
But
Now
we've
that we've
also
and
wildly
and
lost the point.
Cosmic Titty over there is supposed to. Cosmic Titty over there is supposed to be leading it.
I theorize that he's stalling because he actually didn't write anything for this episode at all.
Dude,
Can
never
I-
write anything.
Can
Dude,
I say?
I dropped
Can
out
I
of school.
say?
You think I know how to write?
Can I say?
The most he knows, the most
Apparently
he's
not.
written on a piece of paper is as a degenerate like you belongs on a cross. That's all he's got.
To be fair, I could make an entire episode around that one line. So
Generous like you belong.
we wouldn't just be talking about Fallout. We'd be talking about like furries.
Wow.
That's true.
Listen.
I'm here on the Warhammer train.
Hey, listen. If you want to be a furry, if that's your thing, that's fine. I've no problem with that.
Just, you and your degeneracy will be excised by the Imperium of Man.
Look. You're talking about a very specific subset of furries that are real interesting people.
Yeah, we call them cringe.
Yeah.
They're not tech. They
there's
cringe.
there's actually a name for them.
Yeah, we
it's
call
called-
them furries.
It's called Yif.
Oh God.
Oh
stop.
God.
I don't know that that's true, but
You're going to actually give me cancer?
Anyway,
I'm going to vomit so much that my stomach will turn inside out and
Sorry,
develop cancer.
I could just see Ringo slowly
is just
dying on
furry
his face
porn.
over there. He's just over here like, I'm trying to talk, and you guys are just over here talking about furry porn.
Hey, can I say, going back to Fallout, that ironically timed episode is ironic because culturally appropriate Fallout lore.
What in the goddamn fuck are you fucking talking about?
what
you
in the
piece of-
goddamn?
Oh, just the escalating tensions between the United States and China and threats of nuclear war from both sides.
True. Let's hope they don't land in Anchorage.
Oh my fucking God. Dude. If China decides to invade us via going through Alaska, I'm going to be like, I'm going to start digging a hole.
Yeah, no
Line that
shit.
shit with lead.
You're like,
buy all the rights
time
to
to
supply.
go to the government and form a corporation called Voltec.
No, it's a little late for that. By the time they invade Anchorage, it's a little late.
So we're not gonna get as many vaults, but maybe a few, like 2 or 3.
Nah, I'm just gonna get a shovel, start digging a fucking hole.
As long as we get Vault 69, I think that's all that really.
Is there actually in the series the Vault 69 that's just
We
like
have
a
not
crazy
seen Vault
sex
69 as far as I know, but I am very intrigued to figure out what the fuck was going on inside of it.
It's probably some crazy sex vault. Just they had a vault. I think it was Vault 114 in Fallout 4. That was just a drug vault where they had like a cool machine that like cleans out your blood. And they're like, "All right, be safe. Go have all the drugs you want. Just don't die. Come back here and get your blood cleaned." And like, so if they can do that, then they also had Vault 21, which Beard will cover. Was a vault where everything was solved via gambling.
If I may, Vault 69 official canon vault, by the way. The only information
Tell me that's not the one with Gary.
The only information we know about Vault 69 was of the 1,000 people who entered, there was only one man.
Sounds about right.
Well, yeah.
You know what was going on in Vault 69?
Was it just like a bunch of women and one man, or is that the one where it's like one dude and like a bunch of puppets?
It's one dude and 999 women.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
so they did
in a scenario
for the dude.
I was gonna say, in a scenario like that, the guy is either murdered or suicided in the first day.
No, here's the thing. Here's the most likely scenarios is he is probably going to get into some sort of polyamorous relationship with a small handful of those women who will become jealous of each other over time, while most of the women do not even interact with this man, and there will be same-sex relationships throughout most of it, and he will end up in a sort of torturous existence where he's like his purpose in society is basically to go to the med bay and get milked every so often so that he has viable sperm to create more vault dwellers.
Interestingly enough, there's also a Vault 68, which is the opposite. So it's
which is one woman and like
999 men. Yeah.
See, now here's the thing. Here's the thing that we actually have a real world example of what would happen there. You'd think like there's gonna be a lot of violence in that one. There's gonna be like this simp cult that forms. Like let's be fucking honest here.
Either that or all the men will kill each other until there's only one left to bed the woman.
That's why I said there will be a lot of violence, because if you have 999 men locked into a small space with one eligible woman, there's going to be a very small cabal of people who are like even considered by this woman, and then everyone else is just going to be like violent barbarians over time. Because while men have a lot better elasticity of being able to like forgive and continue, that's why we have the bro code. It's sort of this like evolutionary code, so to speak, of men being able to be okay with other men more often, because it means more camaraderie, which means more likely to hunt and win and or not have your tribe destroyed by another tribe. But in a situation where you can't go away, you can't leave, then yeah, it's inevitably going to lead to wars, because men just intrinsically are more assertive and aggressive. And that's not like, there's a huge spectrum of like, that's where the whole gender thing comes from, is there's like 700 points on the spectrum. But like, if you're biologically male and your body produces a certain amount of testosterone, you are simply psychologically more likely to turn to aggression because of the way that affects your psychology.
So may I ask why you're digging a hole over there?
That's my impression of Zeta right now.
Yeah, because he's talking about digging a hole. But the thing is, like, the rest of the spectrum doesn't even matter, because they said they threw 999 men, especially inside the Fallout lore, which was like very, very machismo. And it's like, miss me with that gay shit is sort of like the way that they operated.
Except that in Fallout New Vegas, you can be gay.
All I wanted to say, was
pre-world, which is how the vaults were stocked, was pre-war. They present the old world, especially America, as being like near Warhammer levels of machismo, and it was very like stone the gay away.
All I wanted to say was on the Google search results after the wiki entry for Vault 69, there's a lot of fanfiction.net, Vault 69 Chapter 1.
We don't have.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure there's an anime that's something like probably a manga, not an anime.
I wasn't expecting us to go full fucking let's 1984 this bullshit and just talk about like.
In the words of Ringo, ew, you made it political.
Yeah. Like,
well, the funny thing is, my attempt to make it political was talking about like Lamau, China threatened us with nuclear war, and then we just went right to Vault 69.
You're just like, let's talk about what I definitely know for sure that's factually backed by science is definitely the way that men and women act. Let's jump right into that fucking deep ass swimming pool.
Well, that's. First of all, I married a psychologist, so I've got a bit more experience in this because guess how our dinner talks go?
You talk while you're eating?
While I'm chewing. She speaks while I'm chewing, and then I take a bite. Then she takes a bite, and I respond. And then I take a bite, and she responds. You know, like civilized people.
I just inhale food and go back to my room like a fucking goblin.
I'd like to point something out real quick.
Because you have no interpersonal communication skills.
Also, that's the proper way to eat.
I have interpersonal communication skills. They just all directly relate to being at work.
Chomp, chomp.
All of my interpersonal communication skills are like, hello, sir, how may I help you? Oh, okay. Well, if you'd like to do that, we can do this and this for you. It's all like a script that I read at work.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you're like an NPC then.
Very much so, yes.
I was going to say really quickly, though, it doesn't matter what you think or how scientifically, factually accurate you are. Nobody gives a shit. They give a shit about their feelings and their opinions.
Ew, you made it political.
Yeah, and now we're gonna get all these comments like, well, women don't act like that, and men don't act like that, and we're gonna just have to refer them.
That's what any man who comes in our comment section and says men don't act like that
is just proving the point. I get it.
Having 1,000 men in a small space and expecting no wars to happen. May I direct you to the entirety of human history?
Where we had ample space. Anyway,
and we get off the
fucking the fucking political train here.
I agree.
But aliens don't talk to us. Because all we do is kill each other constantly.
Oh my god.
Zeta's in a fucking mood today.
We're not going to have a conversation about video games. Welcome to the tutorial where we now discuss political.
We talk about the
tutorial. We are at war.
War. Huh. Yeah. What is it good for?
You know,
getting copyright striked.
Nuttin'.
That's nuts.
I'm gonna be honest with you. My joke I was gonna make was something about turning frogs gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water.
There it is. Yep.
And now we are A, demonetized, and B, shadow banned. Thank you, Zeta.
I'm pretty sure if you're shadow banned, you're also demonetized.
What is shadow banned?
That's where the host server.
They ban you, but they don't tell you that you've been banned, and they just stop recommending your videos to people and stuff, and nobody ever finds out who you are.
They delist your videos or whatever your content media is. They delist it from search so that if you go looking for, so that like if you on your account go looking for it, you can find it. But if somebody else unrelated goes to look for it, they won't be able to find it.
Yeah.
Basically because you have spoken against
China.
narrative, whatever the narrative happens to be. Well, no, because like again, not
Since we're going full blown, why not?
Here we go, getting political.
Look, I'm just saying, our editor for this episode, aka me, is gonna have a hell of a lot of work to do.
The right
we're gonna be missing a whole fucking hour of.
All right, well, let's get off the political. Let's get off the political train with this one final statement.
Right.
Let's get off the political train with this one final statement. Vote third party.
Right. So,
Fallout, which is an intrinsically political statement.
To be fair, that's
I suppose if we're gonna
that's somewhat accurate.
We probably should talk about like the history of Fallout.
What is the history of Fallout?
I don't really know that much. I really don't know that much.
I'm pretty sure that is.
Wow, we cracked him. He's like actual legit mad.
I'm trying not to demonetize my videos. Stop singing.
I think I'm gonna drink this paint.
Hey man.
Man.
Hey man.
Hey, you know what's funny is that's also appropriate to Fallout.
Hey Ringo. Hey, when you're done, can you pass me that paint? I want to drink some too.
Give me some glue. I ain't had enough glue to sniff yet. Make sure the Titan over there has some crayons to chew on.
Maybe I should inhale this fucking nail polish.
Give me some when you're done. I want some too.
Good acetone.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh shit, I got some of that too. Yeah.
Just fucking. I can't imagine actually doing that. Fuck.
I've seen people do it. People do stupid shit.
Yes, like get on my podcast and talk about political shit all day.
It is so goddamn hot in my room.
And then fucking sing and shit and get me demonetized as fuck.
I don't know how that. I'm pretty sure that song is like publicly.
It doesn't matter if you think it's publicly available.
The royalty.
Oh, again, it's something by the egg spots.
It doesn't really matter.
Like, I'm pretty sure Bethesda does not own the rights to that song. It's just like old enough that it's public domain.
It doesn't matter if you think it's public domain.
It matters whether or not Bethesda as a corporation.
This work is in the public domain because it was published in the United States between 1926 and 1963. Although there may or may not have been a copyright notice, the copyright was not renewed. For further explanation, see whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Because like, okay, when certain YouTubers, there's YouTubers that do Fallout content. Some of them have used songs in the past, like The Wanderer, which I won't sing because that one got copyright struck because it still has a copyright on it. But there's other ones that use specifically that song, I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire. That's public domain. If it sounds like old jazz and you hear that sort of like fog on like the record, then it's probably public domain. Unless it was like one of maybe 4 artists who are ridiculously influential to modern music. Somebody like Nat King Cole and Up.
See, and you can think that, but YouTube won't really care.
It's not so much if YouTube cares, it's if the other algorithm cares enough via the information it's been fed to issue you a strike.
Which it almost always will.
No, not YouTube's algorithm. Whoever it is who holds the copyright.
Fallout was made by Black Mesa, right? Or something like that?
Black Isle Studios.
Yeah.
Black Mesa.
Fucking Black Mesa, really, Dave?
Black Mesa.
I mean, the point was to get your attention off of this stupidity.
Yeah. Our attention's been on this stupidity for 20 minutes.
I can't speak.
Can we talk about Fallout?
All right. You want to just like start the episode over and just throw out everything before this?
I'm half tempted, yes.
How long have we been recording? And we
You
barely
said
20 minutes. 20 minutes. And we haven't even talked about the topic at hand, which is Fallout.
No, we started with that, and then we quickly veered off.
I'm sorry. You veered off.
I'm sorry, which one of us looked up Vault 69 and started talking about that
Vault
shit?
69 because, haha, 69 is a funny joke.
Because it's a funny
let
joke
me get into the psychology of how men and women think for 10 minutes.
Somebody went off about, like, oh, this is how, I'm pretty sure Ringo actually was like, oh, this is how that would go. And I'm like, well, actually.
No, that was you.
Not to be that mean.
That was you.
No, somebody else started it, and I responded.
I know what's going down in Vault 69. That's all I said.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you get four brothers together to do a podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. If you look out the window to your left, you will see a bunch of raging retards arguing over semantics.
You're correct, sir. Please, may I have another?
It's made by Black Isle Studios, which I'm pretty sure is what became. Remind me of what the company. Yeah, Obsidian is what it is now. And the first two games had absolutely nothing to do with Bethesda. And there goes. There we go. He's back. All right. The first two games had absolutely nothing to do with Bethesda, and I know very, very little about them. I do also know that Fallout Brotherhood of Steel is an abomination, and we're not going to talk about it anymore.
Well, except that it's a Fallout game, so let's talk about it. Why is it an abomination?
Have you ever played it?
You explain to us as if we have not.
So, first of all, the intro cutscene goes against everything that every other Fallout game has set for, like, mood and shit at the beginning. By instead of having that old-timey music, it has just ridiculously hard metal over its intro cutscene.
Okay, I don't see this as a problem.
It's not really a problem.
I don't see this as typically out of character for the Brotherhood of Steel either.
But also,
Brotherhood of Steel is very Warhammer.
There is
like the Imperium of Man, except Fallout.
So you get to move around and shit, and then other than that, you have one button. Well, actually, two buttons.
Is it the fire and fire support button?
Attack and interact, and that's it. Those are your only. And by the way, you play as a Brotherhood of Steel initiate, but like you don't look anything the part because you get to pick one of three characters, one of which is like a biker dude, the other one is like a crazy-eyed ghoul, and the third one is like a cowgirl.
Okay, well, only one of those sounds like they would not be part of the Brotherhood of Steel.
And
cool.
Yeah, and basically, it's very clear that there was a very specific demographic that this game was meant to please. When
people looking for an exterminator.
The leader of the Raiders is a woman in tight clothing, wearing almost nothing and dual wielding pistols. It's very, very clear.
Again, don't see a problem with this.
Honestly, that sounds like the rest of Fallout to me. Like, have you seen some of the outfits in Fallout that Raiders wear?
To be fair,
a bra made out of a tire.
I'm thinking of like some of the outfits in '76 I saw recently, and I'm like, some of these Raiders just don't believe in clothes.
I'm still waiting for Ringo to get to the point where. I was gonna say I'm still waiting for Ringo to reach the point where anything with what he's saying becomes like bad.
Well, the gameplay
sounds very on brand for Brotherhood of Steel to me.
The gameplay isn't great. Let's just leave it at that.
He just doesn't like. He's not a fan of tactics games, which is what Brotherhood of Steel is.
I'm aware also that of the games, Brotherhood of Steel is probably the least popular, and a lot of people hate it.
It's also the least canon.
Yeah.
Despite having the most cannons.
Funny joke.
Runner-up for having the most cannons is Fallout 4 because you get to actually wield a naval cannon.
But other than that,
Which they imported into 76 for no reason.
other than that, there's Fallout 3, which for some reason it's a good
Bethesda's
game.
first crack at the series.
It's a good game.
Yeah, it
Right?
just doesn't age well in comparison to the tech.
It's not as good as New Vegas. There's a lot of things in New Vegas that are better, like the traits and perks and shit. Are
Like
all better.
everything?
Like
Yeah,
the
pretty much
story is
everything
better.
about New Vegas.
Wild wasteland. Take
Yes.
drugs. Fight a bear.
Yes.
Take drugs, fight a bear. Is it just me, or does that guy sound like Dale Gribble from King of the Hill?
It kind of
I'm
does.
sure it's just you.
Take drugs, fight a bear.
I mean, he does and he doesn't. I get where you're coming from. He sounds like this. He's got the same kind of tone and character type as him, but it's not the same.
All I know is Fallout New Vegas is better than Fallout 3 in every possible way, including the memes, because after all, we can't expect God to do all the work.
The writing was better.
So, of the
The writing was better. I would almost say the acting is better, but like just the absolute deadpan that is Benny really makes me upset because having watched Friends, I know Matthew Perry can act better than that, which means somebody told this motherfucker to sound like a robot.
That is a ring-a-ding move, baby.
Before we get off of the first two games really quickly, do you guys know what the type or style of game, what it's called that those were? Because they're like the
Fallout
same
1 and
kind
2?
of...
Aren't they?
Yeah, because they're like the
technically also
same...
tactics games.
You talking about Fallout 1 and 2, yeah?
Yeah, because the same
Tactics-
kind of
yeah,
game
that's
as
a- that's a-
Gene Force.
That's a tactics RPG.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I was wondering about. Because I'm like, I feel like we should say that
That
Fallout 1 and
same-
2 were those
That
things.
same genre has been pretty popular with independent studios, which at the time Fallout was an independent game. But it's been like the setting gets changed, but other independent studios like Spiderweb Software with the Gene Forge series is very similar.
Oh my
Dude, I've
god,
been playing
Zeta,
Force
we
5.
have to do an episode on that at some point.
On the Gene Forge, I would be
Yeah.
happy to spend a week.
I could just
playing
not-
fucking Gene
I could
Forge.
just not fucking be there for that one.
Why?
Why?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Why? What do you mean?
We
Why?
can talk about
Don't you
that
know?
on another episode
Don't you know
where we're
that
not already
Dave?
20 minutes
Don't you
deep
know
and
that
not
Dave
talking
has a
about-
whole? Don't you know that Dave has like a whole like character flaw where he's just like, if the graphics aren't the most up to date, bestest graphics, it's shit. It's a shit game. It's terrible. It needs to have the best graphics ever, or it's shit. Everything else
That
fucking
must be
sucks.
really awkward playing Skyrim and knowing that Daggerfall is objectively better in every possible way, despite looking worse than Doom.
That's not. That's. So first of all, I do have a thing about graphics, but
Can we just
That's
get
not
another
very-
goblin?
That's not really
You,
the-
you want more of that voice?
I just want more of that voice. I will take any excuse to hear more of that.
all right, my turn.
That
on
was
the
some
second block.
quality voice acting.
Fuck.
I don't care who it's an impersonation of. If it's an impersonation of anyone, I just want to hear do more of that funny voice.
Fuck Coca-Cola. Pepsi's a much better soda. Haven't you ever had Pepsi before? Fuck Coca-Cola. Pepsi's better.
You sound like some
This is,
random homeless guy
it's like
from
some
New York.
bridge-dwelling Boston motherfucker is what.
Sounds about right for Fallout 4.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
handy for Fallout 4.
It's perfect for Fallout 4. Fuck Coca-Cola.
Zeta, it's Hancock.
No, that sounds like Hancock if Hancock had a much more rough childhood.
Hancock is that, but also Jack Sparrow.
No, Hancock is just basically like coked out Jack Sparrow, which is an interesting statement to say out loud.
He's got a jar of something.
Funny story.
Isn't that normal Jack Sparrow?
No, normal Jack Sparrow just has like issues. But like they I don't know. He's not even a heavy user of opium or anything. But yeah,
he's just constantly drunk all the time.
Hancock's story. We can get to that in a bit. Like how you have companion storylines, which they started kind of in New Vegas. Like there's companion
Fallout 3 doesn't really have companion storylines.
Yeah, your companion storyline is I gotta go find Dad. Yeah, hey Dad, I found you in this crazy machine.
As I recall, the companions
another crazy machine.
The companions in 3 were like you find a fucking super mutant in a vault and he's not evil. You find you can buy a hoe off of what's his Eulogy Jones. That's the guy. And then like I don't know, with the rest of your companions are what, robots or something? I think you could take Amada or Butch, depending on how you deal with the Vault 101.
No. You come back to Vault 101, and if you left the Overseer alive, then there's a whole thing where he steps down and makes Amada the Overseer. If you killed the Overseer, then like there's a different attitude towards you, and Amada's already the Overseer. Either way, which is fucking stupid. They just like declare you an outsider and no longer welcome. No matter how helpful you are, they're just like, oh, you're like a danger to Vault 101 now.
No, you can actually, if you didn't kill the Overseer, you can actually come back and be on friendly terms with them.
I don't remember that, but it's also possible that I didn't.
There's so many more companions than I remember there being in this game.
In 3?
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah, there's
Star Paladin Cross. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, Star Paladin Cross.
Oh my god! How do you?
I would be happy to have her hammer anytime.
Star Paladin Cross doesn't make sense to me because you're like, I never spoke to her before. She just walked up to me one time and she was like, "Hey, if you ever need somebody at your back, I got you. Your father was a great guy." I'm like, "Cool."
Yeah, she knew your family. Yeah, but you're still like, "Hello."
Hello, relevant to the story character. Hi.
You also Butch can be a companion, although he seems like a terrible one. Clover.
I wish you could
Clover. That's the one I was
Tunnel
talking about.
Snakes rule.
Clover, where you just buy a hoe off of Eulogy Jones, and he's like, "It's your problem now."
I did the quest for
Eulogy Jones. I just kill Eulogy Jones for 2 reasons every single time. 1, I'm not down with human trafficking, and 2, I want that sweet suit.
Here's what I did the last time.
Good ass reason, the sweet suit. That's the best reason.
Quest, I bought the children from him, and then I came back and killed him. I got my money back.
There's also Charon, or Karen, or however you want to say his name. Sharon.
The ridiculously oversized ghoul in Underworld, who's just like, "Hey, I'll kill people for money."
Talk to Azrakal.
The best companion, in my opinion, for Fallout 3 is gotta be Fox.
Fox.
Yeah, because it's just poetic musing.
He's just a giant dude with like a Gatling plasma gun and just running around going, "Ah!"
I would not take your destiny from you, friend.
Oh yeah, then there's that.
So cool, dude. He shows up to try and save you from the Enclave, and then you're just like, "Oh, sorry, buddy. I already convinced the president to blow the whole fucking bunker up."
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, hey, sorry, buddy." Yeah, and then later on, you're at the radiation thing, and you're like, "Hey, Fox, you're immune to radiation. Can you go throw that switch for me?" And then he's like, "I would not take your destiny from you, my friend." And then you have Broken Steel. The first thing I did with Broken Steel is I woke up and I'm like, "Fuck that Fox guy." I'm immortal.
If you've got Broken Steel, you can't be like you literally can't be like, "Hey Fox, you're immune to radiation." Yeah. Can you fucking go in there and push the button? Well, I don't really want to because it's your destiny. And then if you pass a speech check, you can be like, "Fox, get your gigantic green posterior in that chamber and push the fucking button."
Green posterior in that radiation room.
And then after that, he'll be like, "Well, I guess I can."
What I don't like about 3 is the sheer amount of cutscenes during the fucking campaign, like the main storyline, where you just can't move your character at all. That shit gets so annoying.
Damn annoying. I will give you that.
That shit is so annoying.
I like how that's
can we talk about the weird German scientist from Vault-Tec who decided to live in virtual reality as a little girl?
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I hate him.
Yeah, he's
what an asshole.
Yeah. It's really funny though, because you go inside the like abandoned house in the simulation, and you have to solve like a sound puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "What have you done? China is invading my whatever the fuck virtual reality bullshit."
Tranquility Lane.
Yeah,
no one is around to help.
Tranquility Rain.
All right, that's a little uncalled for.
but our gender conversation wasn't.
Oh yeah, you're gonna say that's uncalled for, Zeta. Okay.
Okay, well, there's a difference between misunderstanding gender science and like genuinely expressing my understanding of it, and racist Chinese impressions. Although I will say, every Chinese character except for one in the series, that's about the amount of effort they put into making them sound Chinese. Like there's a radio station in Fallout 3
that's not
where
true.
they're like, "Greetings to the oppressed masses."
That is true. That bit is true about the radio station.
That bit is true. But the guy in Fallout 4 who owns a submarine is like actually Chinese. He doesn't
own the submarine because
yes, he's the captain of the submarine.
I suppose, assuming that China has also been equally destroyed, then yeah, I guess there's nobody really to say it isn't his.
By the way, speaking of, are we gonna mention Fallout London at all, or?
Wait, that's it.
Technically, Fallout London is a mod, and
I was gonna say, isn't that a total conversion mod? It's not an actual game.
It is extraordinary.
Wasn't that at E3?
Was
it? No, Fallout Miami.
It's a mod for Fallout 4. Huh.
Are mods that are like really super well done.
Huh.
And then there was another one that was done for New Vegas that there was like a lot of controversy around. I can't remember the title of it, but there was like one of the guys who was working on it and was like high up there. It was found out to have like I'll shorten it to CP. There was some CP content in what he had made, so they had to take the whole thing offline, and like anything that he had made, they had to take out so that they could continue to produce it. Kicked him off the team. There was this whole big thing. There was in the Fallout community, I think like what the fuck is his name? TK Mantis had like a psychotic break and like went off at one of the developers of the mod and got kicked out of the Discord. But I can't remember what it was fucking called.
The Frontier.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I remember that being released and everyone's like, "Oh, it's been worked on for years. It's really great." And then like 2 days later, they're like, "We've pulled it from Nexus."
I didn't even know that was a thing. So.
Yeah, neither did I. That's news to me. It's interesting though. Just in that
fucked up kind of a way.
So do you want to briefly go over the story of Fallout 3?
So basically, the story of Fallout 3, if you want me to put it into dumb terms, you are born, and there is a computer that tells you what you will look like, and you're introduced to character customization, which is really not that great. And then you get your you're a baby for like 5 minutes, and you get to select your special stats, and then you're a 10-year-old, and then suddenly you're 19 and your dad has left. Oh, actually, no, you're 16. You have to take the goat test.
Yeah, you're 16. You gotta take the aim, but it's called the goat.
And then you're 19, and suddenly your dad has left the vault, and the overseer went crazy, and all the fucking security guards are trying to kill you. And then you leave, and you find a city made of trash with a bomb in the middle of it.
I have a critique to make already. Not all of the security guards try to kill you.
Oh, you're
There's
right.
one in particular that's like, you were always a good kid.
Yeah, there's that one that's like, oh man, you're lucky it was me that found you and not somebody else. You better get out of here, man.
You better get out of here, man.
I just love that you find a city made of trash.
I mean, it is literally a refurbished airport.
The entirety of the Fallout series.
You find a city made of trash with a active nuclear warhead in the middle of it.
The power of Adam.
You can go into the like bar and talk to the Irish guy named Marty Archie, and he's like, oh sure,
oh yes, I know your father. He was a fucking asshole.
He's like, I knew your father. He came in here with a little baby, and I assumed that baby was you. And then and he's like, I can tell you what you in for.
That is an uncanny.
Do you like? Is it just you just breathe in when you're doing an Irish voice? Is that how this works? My name is Moriarty.
My name is Moriarty.
I knew your father.
As somebody who spent time on the Emerald Isle. Yeah, basically.
I know where your father went.
The guys from Letterkenny, that's literally what they sound like.
Oh yeah, I know your father. He was a great chum. All right, so can you help me? No.
No, you can go fuck yourself if you're poor.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You're going like all
Moriarty.
over the country with that
That's
accent.
basically Moriarty. Oh, you're poor. You can go fuck yourself.
Then you can like talk to a girl and she'll be like, "Oh, go find my brother," and then you go find her brother, and he's like,
"Well, okay, yeah, but I'm mainly focusing on the main story. So you have the option at that point to pay him, do a little quest for him, or steal the password to his computer and find out for your goddamn self."
Which is what all self-respecting players do.
Yeah. So then you find out through one of those ways that he went to I think he said they went to that's where he went to Galaxy News Radio, or was it River?
Galaxy News Radio with your host Snoop Dogg.
You go ahead on no, it's Snoop Dogg. Then you go head on down to the ruins of DC and then.
You go down to the ruins of DC.
You go down to the ruins of DC, and then you fight a super mutant behemoth. I can. Anyway, you fight a super mutant behemoth.
That's right. That's right. That's the initiate. It's the fucking Brotherhood of Steel initiate. Like, today's your day. You're gonna graduate. Yeah, squashed.
And then he dies. Yeah. And then they're like, and then Sentinel Lines is like, pick up that fat man and shoot the damn thing, and then you just shoot nukes at it.
You're like, I guess I got a nuke launcher. All right, here we go.
Yeah. So
I got the giant fuck you launcher.
So then you go inside and you go and talk to Three Dog, and he does the same exact shit that Moriarty did. He's like, yeah, I can tell you if you go do a thing for me.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, you can steal the password to his terminal and find out where your goddamn stuff.
But any self-respecting player will go do the errand for Three Dog because Three Dog do be cool.
It's like this, right? It's like, hey, I'm Three Dog. Wait, I'm sorry, he doesn't sound like that. I'm Three Dog, and then it's like
Three Dog is voiced by the
like,
same guy as Nazir from the Dark Brotherhood.
Hey, Three Dog, can you help me find my dad? Yeah, man, I can tell you where your dad went, but you got to do something for me. And then you're like, let me guess. The password to your terminal is the good fight.
And he's like, please don't get into my thing.
No, it's not. That's not the password to my terminal. You're like, hang on, let me just type in the good fight real quick. Oh, look, it unlocked.
Hey, look at all this information you've got stored in the computer.
He's like, look, man.
He's like, can you please just go down to the grocery store and pick me up?
It's not very cool.
what he says is he's like, information isn't free. You got to contribute to the good fight. I'm like, bro, I don't want to. Just tell me where he went.
It's just like, I'm just trying to find my dad. Also, so you can tell me that boy ain't right.
I'll also say, though, that game is very, very, very good at making you feel bad if you kill 3 Dog for any reason.
True.
You feel like even if you're playing a purely villainous character, you still will feel like an asshole for killing 3 Dog.
Well, it's because if you kill 3 Dog, it's because you're an asshole.
Also, if you kill 3 Dog,
I can find a way, now that I've played 4, which, spoilers, now that I've played 4, I can justify blowing up Megaton because of the Children of Adam. But, like, there is no justifying killing 3 Dog.
Also, though,
I was real worried there for a second. I could justify blowing up Megaton because of the Children of Adam.
If you kill 3 Dogs, the only radio station left is
because of fucking Moira Brown. And then she still doesn't die.
Yeah, you can't kill Moira Brown. She just won't die.
Well, you can kill Moira Brown. You can't kill her with the
Moira Brown is an immortal Minnesotan.
I was gonna say, Moira Brown is not a shopkeeper. Moira Brown is an entity.
Yeah. She is an eldritch fiend who is cosplaying as a human mechanic with a Minnesotan accent.
Moira Brown is the reason I refuse to nuke Megaton ever. Because
she got a thing for redheads?
She just seems so fucking sad.
Yeah, she's like,
she's the only one left.
I wanted to experiment with being a ghoul. And I will admit, like, the 2 things in the game that make you feel the worst, if you have any, like, decency, is killing 3 Dog and ghoulifying Moira Brown. Yeah, but, like, at some point,
she's like, well, I was writing a book, but now all of my pages are just charred.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But anyway,
I exploderated Megaton!
From Galaxy News Radio, you have to go talk to
become
Dr.
aggressive.
You
you go to Rivet City and talk to Dr. Lee.
Who has no time for funny business.
What? Your father? Fuck that guy. He left
she's
me.
really, really rude for no reason.
Yeah.
She's just like, look, I don't have time for this type of shit. While you're there, interesting little one of my favorite side quests is the whole Harkness thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which leads into Fallout.
By the way, I just want to say Pinkerton is my favorite Rivet City person. Because then you find Pinkerton and he's just like, who the fuck told you about me? Who the fuck are you? Why the fuck are you here? You're like, yo, dude, calm down. And he's like, calm down.
Get out of my
fucking
lab.
Pointed at your face. And you're telling me to calm down? Fuck you. Who the fuck sent you? You're like, I was just hunting Mirelurks, bro. And he's like, fuck off.
And then he's like, hey, I heard you can, like, rearrange my face. And he's like, yeah, I can, with the business end of this fucking shotgun.
Yeah. It's like, it's a wonder anyone ever actually gets anything from him. He's like, fuck Rivet City. They kicked me off the council. Fuck those bastards. I got a shotgun with them.
Also, when you talk to him about doing this shit for Harkness to change his face and his voice, he's like, yeah, I kept documentation of it so I could rub it in whatever the fucking doctor in Rivet City's face is.
So I can rub it in Dr. Lee's face.
I can rub it in Dr. Lee's face. She's a bitch.
Yeah.
He's like so mad at her for no reason.
He's just like super upset that he got kicked out of the HOA, basically.
Oh my god, he's great.
And then from there, you have to go find out about fucking Vault 112, which is where you meet Dr. Braun, and you find out that
Stanislaus Braun.
He turned your dad into a dog inside of the simulation.
The German doctor with a very suspicious accent.
You go into a simulation.
Why would a German having a German accent be suspicious?
Well, it's just that his grown man voice with a German accent comes out of a little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the fact that he's like
little girl
cosplaying a little girl.
Well, I never said he didn't have
Susie.
No, it's actually Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, haha, my name is Betty, haha, I'm gonna make you kill people, haha. And then when you like destabilize the simulation a little bit, she's suddenly like, what have you done, you mad bastard? You're
Yeah,
like,
and he's
whoa.
like, you have your father waiting outside for you, but there is no one for me.
Yeah.
Like I give a shit.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to feel bad for
you'll be
this
lucky
guy.
if I leave you alive.
Yeah, like there's the old lady who you talk to, and she's like, he's killed us and revived us multiple times for fun.
He's like,
Please end our suffering.
It's not right. You gotta help us. You gotta get us out. She's like, she's the one that tells you to go into the abandoned house and do the fucking noise puzzle.
Go into the abandoned house and play Sound Simon.
Yeah. Honestly, that puzzle is so fucking easy. It literally
It's
is
just
so
a
easy.
combination code of like 4 or something. And you just have to figure out the right combo.
Literally, last time I did it, like a few days ago, right? Last time I did it, fucking, I got half of the puzzle right on the first try, so I just had to do like the last 2 or 3. I just had to figure those out. It's
Yeah.
really fucking crazy. But then, you know, you get your dad out of the fucking simulation, and then he's like, Project Purity, because he's, you know, Liam Neeson. I can't do a really good Liam Neeson. He's like,
Project Purity.
he's like, we've got to go now.
That sounded
You
like
have the
Nicolas
option to be
Cage.
like,
My
bruh,
son.
you're going now? I haven't seen you. You just left the fucking vault.
My
You want to get
son,
back to work right
We have
now?
to go back to Rivet City, my son, and work on Project Purity with Dr. Lee. My son. My son,
Yeah.
I've heard tales of you blowing up a town, my son. I'm very disappointed in you, my son.
Yeah, and your answer is basically like, it was worth it, Dad, trust me. And he'll be
Your,
like,
your
"My
answer
son-
is like, well, actually, my character model's a woman, so.
Well, no, if you pick
you
the
play as a
daughter,
girl,
he,
he calls you
like,
sweetie.
he
My-
will say that you're his daughter.
My daughter, I'm very disappointed in you, my daughter. You blew up Megaton. What bugs me about that whole thing, right, is like he could go and find out like, oh, your child is a fucking psychopath who's like murdered a ton of people, and then he'll just be like, I'm very disappointed in you. You probably had good reasons though, but I'm still very disappointed. And it's like, dude,
You
if,
probably had good reasons.
dude, if I was locked up in a VR simulation.
He was extremely xenophobic.
Yeah, if I was in a situation like that where I was in a VR simulation and I was rescued by my child and then I found out that they were a fucking psychopath who's murdered like 600 people, I would be like, that's not my child, that's a demon. Please give me- Yeah, please give me the gun so I can end everyone's misery. You know?
Can we talk
Yeah.
about? Can we talk about Colonel Autumn and his lack of good
Oh my
dialogue?
God. Colonel Autumn is a piece of shit.
You
Fucking
again.
Colonel Autumn! Fucking Colonel in the United States of America!
No, that's not what he
Texas.
sounds like at all. He sounds like a Louisiana plantation owner.
My name's Colonel Autumn and I'm here to fucking murder you.
No, that's for like Tennessee. He's all like,
My name's Colonel
You
Autumn,
again.
and I do not have time for your bullshit.
no, that's somebody who deals in propane and propane accessories.
I gotta say though, thematically appropriate to the Enclave, you can convince him to shoot himself. Like,
Yeah. You can just be
Yeah.
like, it's a lost cause. You'll never win. Just by stepping out into the wasteland, you become corrupted.
You can
The
also,
flesh is no longer pure.
you can
And he'll
also,
just be like, you're damn right. And then he'll just shoot himself in the face.
you can also.
Yeah, no, he
convince
doesn't have
the
a
president-
Texas accent. He's got a straight up Louisiana accent.
You can also convince the president.
Like he sounds
who is
like
Yeah.
at any moment,
the
at any
entire
moment they
enclave.
talk about having a shrimp bake.
you can convince President Eden to blow himself up when you're in the
President John.
Operation
Can we talk
Anchorage
about
DLC.
President John Henry
You can
Eden
hang
for a
on. We'll
couple
get to
minutes?
that. When you're in the Operation Anchorage
This is your
DLC,
president,
you can
John
convince
Henry.
the Chinese general to fucking stab himself. It's a running theme in that game. You can just
Yeah.
convince people to kill themselves.
Yeah,
It's
you
very-
Everybody
can-
very
commit suicide.
interesting.
The world sucks.
You can also convince Moira, I think, to kill herself after she becomes a ghoul.
I don't think so. I'm pretty
terrible.
sure. No, I'm pretty sure you can't. Like, you can tell her she should, and she'll be like, "That's a horrible thing to say. Why would you say that?" And then she'll run off, and you never see her again. So it's implied that maybe she did, but like the likelihood is that she just went elsewhere. Yeah, let's talk about President John Henry Eden.
This is your president, John Henry Eden.
This is your
Let's
president.
talk about baseball.
John Henry Eden.
No, you can't just talk. You can't just say, "Let's talk about baseball." He has to be like, "Let's talk about a subject."
Let's talk about
intrinsically,
great American pastime.
unanimously American. I am referring, of course, to the great American pastime that is
baseball.
You can't just say, "Let's talk about baseball." You gotta go on this like 30-second like ASMR trip talking about.
When I was a child, growing up in the wonderful streets
World of AI.
Tennessee, I used to enjoy an American classic known as breakfast cereal. And no cereal was better for me than the good old American sugar bombs. We all love our sugar bombs in this country. Fucking John Henry Eden, that's just how he is, man. And then you find him.
Weaver, the eagle.
You find him, and you're like, you've been a fucking computer this whole time, and he's like, yes, there's nothing like, more American
than... and then he tells you to fucking poison the water hole.
Yeah, he's like, take this mutated FEV virus that will destroy all life that's not humanity. And you're like, you can't fucking... Humanity is evolved, dude.
It's like, you can't just do that. What the fuck? That's evil.
He's like, well, I am a computer, and therefore I don't have a sense of morality.
Eugenics ass motherfucker.
Yeah, and then you could be like, okay, blow up fucking the moon.
You stick it in a logic loop, and then he resets, and then you're like, okay, cool, blow up Raven Rock.
Yeah. Or you can just pass a speech check and just be like, blow up Raven Rock.
No, that's what you do, passing the speech checks, is you get him to admit that he's not really a person by getting him stuck in like this.
Yeah, and then actually the sequence following that is actually pretty cool because you're running out while it's all falling apart around you, and all the robots are like fighting alongside you, killing all the fucking Enclave soldiers. Yeah, let me just say, I looted every single corpse.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, Eden, you can talk for a second.
I looted every single corpse.
My son, I heard you blew up the Enclave base, my son. Did you get listen, don't take this away from me. My son, did you find any sweet loot in there, my son? Like, oh yeah, I got about 70,000 suits of Enclave power armor. My son, how are you?
You were out of uniform, soldier. Where is your power armor?
How are you carrying all of this, my son? I just turned on God mode in the console, and I can carry all of them.
No, I got a much more narrative choice than that. Hang on, I got a much more narrative choice for why he's able to carry all that weight. Because he's used to carrying the weight of being a fatherless child for so long.
But anyway, we kind of jumped ahead in the story, right? So when you get back to Project Purity with your father, he has you go and do shit. One of the things that you have to go do is fall through the
my son, I heard you killed 3 Dog, my son. I'm very disappointed in you.
All right, we get it. He's disappointed. It sounds like Liam Neeson. Let's go on with the story.
My son, have you ever heard of the Jedi?
Your midichlorian count is astounding.
My son, go into this wardrobe and into the land of Narnia, my son.
Ride me.
Ride me.
But anyway, one of the things that he has you do is crawl around in the pipes like a fucking rat. And as you're crawling around in the pipes, the Enclave show up and take over Project Purity, and you gotta rush back to the fucking chamber that you later have Fox go into because fuck that. You're not trying to save the world. Anyway.
I'm trying to save the world. I'm just not trying to die while I'm doing it.
Anyway. And then you have got the Colonel in there, and he's talking. He's like, whoever is in charge here needs to hand over all the relevant materials to this project. It is now under the control of the United States government. And then Liam Neeson's like, well, this is a private project. You can't do that. And he's like, I assume you're in charge. You need to hand over the documents. And then he's like, I simply won't do that. And then, he just shoots the other scientist that's right there. He's like, give me the goddamn documents. He's like, fine, whatever. And then your father blows himself up.
That's not true. He locks Colonel Autumn. He locks Colonel Autumn in the red chamber with him.
But I did it like 2 days ago. He fucking it blew up. There was like an explosion inside the chamber, and it killed everyone.
Except Colonel Autumn, apparently.
Yeah, except Colonel
Autumn. No, it's weird because I saw Colonel Autumn die. And then he comes back
and he's just like, I didn't die because I'm American.
You again. Literally, all he sees the only thing he says the next time he sees you is you again.
Well, actually, no, because he stops you in Vault 87 and knocks you out, takes a shit. He's like, take her to blah blah blah, and then you go to Raven Rock. Yeah, after you get the Gek from Vault 87, which, by the way, you have to go take all the scientists out of there and go in a tunnel under the city to go to the fucking Brotherhood of Steel Citadel, where you can just get power armor training, no questions asked. Elder Lion just like, yeah, I guess we should just train you to wear power armor. I feel like it would be a good decision.
That sounds like probably a good idea.
To be fair, Lions is kind of like abnormal when it comes to the
There's also a lot of plot there that you just glossed over.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yeah, we can give you some power armor training. By the way, have you seen our gigantic fucking transformer-ass robot that we have?
Have you seen our Gundam?
Yeah. So they have
It's a
Liberty
Gundam.
Prime.
It's a real Gundam. It shoots lasers and shit. Did your dad ever tell you about that?
Nope. What he did tell me about was a Bible verse. Revelation.
The Brotherhood of Steel's greatest weapon, Liberty Prime, the meme master himself.
America will never fall.
He's
to the red menace.
He's such a meme guy that in Fallout 76, in order to, as part of their apology for having such a shitty game, they designed a power armor suit in the form of Liberty Prime, and as you walk around the wasteland killing shit, it says Liberty Prime lines. Like, you'll murk a whole bunch of ghouls, and it'll be like communist threat eliminated or some shit like that.
I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah, do it.
Liberty Prime power armor skin.
The less canon it feels, but the more fucking meme worthy it is.
Dude, every time, like, it doesn't matter what attacks you.
Core systems initializing. Liberty Prime back online.
Dude, Liberty Prime is
I am Liberty Prime. I am America.
Yeah.
Death is a preferable alternative to communism.
Throws a nuclear bomb like a football.
By the end of the Liberty Prime March, which, by the way, when I went and did the Liberty Prime March, I queued up All That They Fear Is You and listened to that while I was murdering Enclave.
I gotta say, the Liberty Prime March is pretty disappointing from like a fighting standpoint because you don't do much.
Yeah,
you just watch everything turn into Gibbs.
Yeah, but if you load up All That They Fear Is You, it does make you feel pretty cool.
It makes you feel even cooler if you blast like the heavy rock metal version of the national anthem.
Yeah. By the time I was done with the Liberty Prime, by the time I had done,
you see,
I was face to face with Colonel Autumn again. I was carrying over 2,000 pounds of Enclave power armor.
You again throws power armor at Eden or at
yeah, just
at Autumn.
Just fucking throw the power armor at him.
I killed him, and he just falls gracefully into the fucking basin of water behind him.
You just
Yeah. I was upset because I didn't get to loot his fucking cool ass outfit. He just fell into the water, and
and then Sarah Lyons is like, "Oh my god, everything's gonna blow up and die. You gotta go in there and push the button."
Oh yeah, you can convince her to do it instead as well.
Yeah, and then Elder Lyons fucking hates
bullshit?
you after that.
You know what's bullshit? I have the Broken Steel.
He has every good reason to.
And Lyons is Sarah Lyons is still in a coma afterwards, which is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
What? Even if you do it?
Oh no, I had Fox do it, and Sarah Lyons was still in a coma.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Like she was twice removed from the situation, and she was still in a coma.
Because they're just like, oh, you went to somebody that wasn't you. Therefore, it has to be Sarah Lyons because they can't guarantee that you had Fox.
That's bullshit, though.
Even though it's their own fucking game, and there's no excuse for not being able to program that.
So can we talk about the DLCs now?
Right. So
I just 4 and 76 to go through. So I mean,
and New Vegas.
I just want to say, I just want to say, like, I didn't download this fucking DLC and fucking pass a like hard ass speech check to convince Fox to go in to push a button for me to fucking have to deal with some ghoul in a wig going, "This is Aqua Pura. It's great. It's water that'll turn you from a ghoul into a human.
It'll give you this wonderful quaff."
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, fuck this guy. What a fucking asshole.
No, the Brotherhood calls it Aqua Pura.
No. The Brotherhood and everybody involved with the project calls it Agua Pura because it means pure water.
Yes.
The Ghoul calls it Aqua Cura.
Aqua Cura. Oh, okay.
His name is Griffin.
Which is just like regular irradiated bathwater.
Of all of the DLCs,
the original Gamer Girl bathwater.
Griffin is a huckster, a con man, a snake oil salesman. That's how it describes him in the wiki, by the way.
Of all of the DLCs in Fallout 3, I have only played Mothership Zeta, the Operation Anchorage, and the Pit.
You haven't played Point Lookout?
I have not played Point Lookout.
Bro, Point Lookout's the best one.
No, Broken Steel's the best one. Fuck you.
No, it's not. Broken Steel is just more of the end of the game. It's just like, oh, you get to take Liberty Prime on a second run, which, by the way, he gets blown to fucking smithereens.
And then also get our Tesla cannon. You also get to blow up an airport.
No, you get to blow up a mobile military platform. It's not an airport.
Which is on an airport.
It's not. It's just a giant RV is all it is.
Which is parked on an airport.
You don't blow up the airport, you blow up the RV.
And in doing so, you blow up the airport.
No, you don't! The airport survives! You can go back to the airport!
And it's destroyed because you blew it up!
No, it's not! It's not! It's not destroyed! Just the fucking RV that's blown up! The airport is fine! So, you guys can't see the cameras, but Ringo is just like 1,000 yards staring. Just.
Yeah.
He's got PTSD.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
Listen, Point Lookout is fucking fantastic, okay? Because you get to go to Point Lookout, Maine.
Your brain scraped out, and then you gotta
get a piece of your brain scraped out. Yeah, dude, it's great because you meet these fucking tribal people, and they're like, "Oh, the great punga fruit, it gives us guidance," and then you find out that they're like under the control of a holographic brain, and you're like, "Who the fuck is this?" And then you meet a ghoul. And he's all like, "Yeah, that's Dr. whatever the fuck, and he's been playing this game for a long ass time, and he's fucking with the world." And then you join this asshole of a ghoul. you forgot
the part where you get your brain carved out.
Yeah, well, you only get like a tiny piece of your brain carved out. You're fine. And then you go on like an acid trip where like you. That's my favorite part, by the way. Where you're like watching a giant needle stitch something into the ground. You find the bomb for Megaton, and like your mother's corpse is next to it. you find a lot of bobbleheads, but instead of like picking it up and it has some quote on it from somebody, it's just like, "You fucking suck and you know it."
I do remember that. I forgot that was a thing. I do remember that. I haven't played that since we had Fallout.
But you blow up the dude's mansion, and then you get into a fight between a brain and a ghoul, and it's fucking great.
I mean,
I don't remember that part. I just remember going through and picking up the bobbleheads and them being like, "Fuck you!"
Yeah. You're the reason your mother died. Fuck you.
Fuck you, man.
I just remember Point Lookout not being nearly as excited.
And then there's like there's a subplot with Cthulhu, but like
I love how you're just gonna like blow over that like it's nothing.
The best DLC in any Fallout game is Honest Hearts.
Yeah, easy.
We can't expect God to do all the work.
Honest Hearts is pretty good because Joshua Graham is arguably the best character in the Fallout series.
Yeah, so here's the thing. The 50 caliber destroys the body, but the 45 ACP destroys the soul.
Joshua Graham is a wonderful character, but that's not.
I love how you first meet him. He's up here just like stacking guns. He's like, "What the fuck is up? My name is Joshua Graham. I'm here to fuck up some shit."
Dude, I can't even begin to emulate his voice, but it is amazing.
Before time was born,
I was thrown into the
he's in a bunch of Bethesda games. He's like the voice. He's the voice of like your typical Dunmer. He's also in a bunch of THQ games. Like he's in the Darksider series as the narrator and or the Crowfather. He's been in
some long last name that I don't know how to say. Keith Zarabadka was the actor who voiced Joshua Graham in Fallout New Vegas add-on Honest Hearts. In Fallout 4, he voiced several male ghouls, and he voiced the Vault Tech scientist. And in its add-on Nuka World, he voiced John Caleb Bradburton and Mark Reisman.
John Caleb Bradburton!
Who's also a brain.
That's a whole thing. That's the whole thing we can talk about at some point.
I love how this is the video this is the picture that it shows for. It's not great. You can't see it very well. It's not a good picture.
Yeah, but like I also really enjoy Mothership Zeta because it's just fucking silly.
I love how you run into all these people who like
that's saying
come
something.
from different time periods.
I killed the samurai, took his armor and his sword.
Oh my god, my favorite character in Mothership Zeta is fucking Paulson, the cowboy.
Yeah.
The cowboy.
Yeah. You're just like, hey,
boy.
Hey, Paulson, how you doing? Doesn't matter. Hey, Paulson, you want to help me kill some aliens? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Paulson, can I have your revolver? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He's fucking great. I love that guy.
I like the medic dude. I honestly, he's such a nervous wreck, but like he's kind of charming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your crew by the end is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
I love how at the end of Mothership Zeta, right? They send aliens to like come get you, and you're just like, oh no, they're gonna get through the door, and then you just hear like, what? And the door opens and there's just dead aliens and the samurai.
Yeah, I forget his name. It's like Togo something.
Yeah, and he's just a straight up samurai. Speaks full ass Japanese. You can't understand a word he's saying.
He is pretty fun.
He is great.
Yeah. Anyway, so the successor of Fallout 3 was by far a much better game. Even though I like Fallout 3 better, but
You
Fallout
heathen.
New Vegas is also
Fallout New Vegas.
Fallout New Vegas is an amazing game, but I personally
And can I personally just say, fuck the NCR?
Yeah.
They do suck. They suck a lot.
Honestly, fuck the NCR, fuck the Legion. Yes, man.
Go
and
with Yes Man.
Fuck House.
I mean,
Yes Man.
I'm
Take
just
over.
saying. I'm just saying, right? You find Caesar, and he's like, yeah, I just kind of am doing whatever the fuck I want. And then the general of, oh wait, I'm sorry, no, Caesar's just like, yeah, I'm just kind of doing whatever the fuck I.
Oh God damn it!
My fucking head. Yeah, and then
True.
General Oliver is like, yeah, we're the NCR and we're here to fuck shit up. And then Mr. House is like, please go murder people. And then Yes Man is like, hey, Yes Man, someone didn't program you very well, did they? You're still answering all my questions. And he's just like, yeah, that was probably pretty dumb, huh? And I'm just like, I like this guy. Yes Man is great. Yeah, so Fallout New Vegas is a Fallout game that takes place in the Mojave Wasteland. Specifically, I think, in Nevada, because that's where Vegas is, yeah.
Well, also, that's where the Hoover Dam is, which is where the major battle takes place.
Yeah. And I like it so much better than Fallout 3 for so many reasons. The least of which is not the fact that in Fallout 3... The fact that in Fallout 3, fucking everything, the sky is gray and the environment is green, and that's all you have.
Not if you go to Rivet City, it's all like black, gross.
But, yeah, we did skip over something in Fallout 3 though.
What, which talking to a living tree that just wants you to kill it?
Yes. Harold.
Well, by the way,
you put me out of my misery.
Harold was a character in Fallout 1, in the first Fallout as well, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah. I think Harold's been around since the beginning.
Yeah. And he's like, I just want you to kill me. I just want to die. And there's this whole like cult of people that are worshiping him.
Don't kill Harold. The tree minders, that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Don't kill our god. And then you can like casually kill their god, and then they're like, how dare you, you son of a bitch! Oh!
You can kill their god and then kill all of them.
Bitch, it's what your god wanted. Shut up.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, you and your weird druidic cult are keeping this man alive and in suffering.
Yeah. But, yeah, Fallout New Vegas is so much better. And I just want to say, Fallout New Vegas is a glitchy-ass game, and the fact that the general community still likes it better than Fallout 3 says a lot.
Because the plot's better, the dialogue.
The fact that they like it generally better than Fallout 4.
I will admit,
says a lot.
A huge flaw in Fallout 3 is the fact that there's not iron sights. You can't look down the iron sights. It's fucking annoying. But
I will also I will say, and this is a common thread between Fallout 3 and New Vegas, something that annoys the shit out of me is with the revolver. The Magnum revolver, you don't have a choice. You have a scope on it. It's like, why? Why is there a scope on this pistol?
What, the
this
44?
Makes no sense.
have a 44 without a scope in New Vegas.
I think you can remove, because in New Vegas you can mod the guns. I think you can remove the scope.
But also, you can get a 44 that just doesn't have a scope on it.
Yeah, it's called the Mysterious Magnum. Otherwise, it has a scope.
Otherwise, it has a scope on it. Yeah.
Getting the Mysterious Magnum is as easy as killing the Lonesome Wanderer or whatever the fuck his name is.
Or recruiting him for the theater. Yeah.
He'll just give you the pistol.
Or you can just shoot him in the fucking head. Another good thing about New Vegas is that there are no essential characters. You can kill anybody you want.
So the story of New Vegas is a lot simpler than what Ringo made the story of Fallout 3 to be out. Basically, you are a courier, and yes, this is different from other Fallout games where you're a vault dweller and you wake up and you leave a vault and you have to do some vault shit. Nah, man, you get fucking shot in the head at the very beginning and buried in a shallow grave and then dug out, and you're like, I'm still alive, bitch. And you have to go track down the guy that shot you in the head. So you start out in the tutorial town Good Springs. You start out in the tutorial town Good Springs, where you meet the people of Good Springs, and also Victor, who is the robot that dug you out, and he's just like, yeah, just come to Vegas. And then your whole...
about to gloss over the glory that is Dynamite Pete?
Dynamite Pete is fantastic. Hey, Dynamite Pete, can I have some dynamite? Nope.
It's actually Prospector Pete.
And then you can pass an explosives check, and he'll just be like, all right.
Another good thing about New Vegas over 3 is that the speech checks in 3, even if you have speech 100, you can still fail a speech check because it's a fucking percentage, and that's bullshit. But in New Vegas, you just have to have a requisite number in that skill, and it's not just speech. You can be intelligent. It can be intelligence. It can be science, explosives. Pretty much every single one. Sneak. If you have high enough sneak skill, you can fucking.
Oh yeah. By the way,
fucking Tops Casino.
The memes in New Vegas begin immediately. Like you wake up in the doctor's office, and you get your stat points all distributed and stuff, and then he gives you an ink blot test or a Rorschach test, depending on who you ask. And right away there's two bears high-fiving, which if you download the mod that gives you the speech option, 2 bears high-fiving, you can select that option. And that in itself was such a popular meme that when they made Honest Hearts, they created a character named 2 Bears High-Fiving as one of the tribals that you can go and meet.
That's the guy that says to do some drugs, kill a bear.
No, it's actually not, but all two bears.
That was him, wasn't it?
No, 2 Bears High-Fiving is just a random NPC tribal who comes out of a cave and does a fist pump in the air and then runs off. But they did it out of love for the meme.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Like Bethesda actually, at least for that.
Yeah. Nope.
That's Obsidian.
That is Obsidian. That's Obsidian software.
Obsidian. You're right.
The thing about New Vegas is the writing for New Vegas was way better. The gameplay, there's a lot of elements of the gameplay that are much better than 3 or 4. Like, for instance, the perks.
I do like the way that the mods work in New Vegas better than how they work in 4.
And also the fact that
I like the weapon mod system in 4 a little bit better than New Vegas, but I will say something that should have made it over to 4 that is criminal that it didn't. That New Vegas had is different ammo types.
Yeah, and then there's also the disguise system. You can dress up as a member of a different faction and go in there and infiltrate them. That's a thing you can't really do in 4 or in 3. Although there's not really factions in 3 other than the Enclave and the Raiders. But
no, there's the Enclave and the Brotherhood, because you can choose to poison the water hole, and then the Brotherhood will hate you.
And then basically, okay, so once you're out of Good Springs, you just kind of go on a quest to find a guy named Benny, who's the guy who shot you in the head, and you get to go to a multitude of places and learn about a lot about the whole situation going on between the two major factions being Caesar's Legion and the NCR, and they're basically fighting over the Hoover Dam, which can give you a lot of power because dams generate a lot of electricity, and they both want it, along with the entity known as Mr. House. He wants it to power the Vegas Strip, basically. The NCR wants it to power their war machines, and obviously Caesar's Legion, pretty much the same thing. They want it to power the Legion. And you basically go on a big-ass quest. You go to several places throughout, and you discover a lot of stuff about, what's going on in the general populace. Like, you go to a town called Prim, where it's been taken over by raiders, and when you clear the raiders out, actually, I think specifically it's Powder Gangers, which is a faction of raiders.
Well, they're escaped convicts that decided they wanted to use the mining dynamite as weaponry.
Yeah, what basically at the end of that, like, you can go to the Powder Gangers HQ and go recruit a sheriff out of there, even if you went and killed all the Powder Gangers in Prim. That's an option that you can do, and it's a little mini story that sort of like ties into the bigger story, but where it's like, yeah, you can put an NCR guy in charge of Prim, and they'll keep everything in order, but like a little too much, and the people won't have as much like freedom to do whatever. Whereas if you go and get the guy from the Powder Gangers, he's like, look, all I ask is that we all get along and we follow the rules, and if you don't, I'll shoot your head off, and that's it. And he's
apparently better than.
He's my favorite choice.
No. So look. Okay, that doesn't necessarily make it sound great, but he's just like, look, man. He's like, look, I don't care, whatever it is you want to do, like, just be a nice person, be considerate of your neighbors. Don't rob, steal, kill, any of that shit, because I will cut your hands off if you steal something. And if anybody comes all up in this town and tries to take it over, I'll fucking shoot him. As long as you respect me as the sheriff, that's how it's gonna go. And
your other option is Prim Slim.
Yeah, your other option is the robot Prim Slim, who's just not the correct option, no matter what you do.
Yeah,
just not the correct option.
You can also force the deputy to get off his coward ass and be the sheriff, but
yeah. But that's not a good option either.
Because he's a coward ass.
Yeah. And eventually you do end up making it into you end up at Freeside, which is the outside of the Vegas Strip. You do a bunch of quests there for a bunch of people. And you end up making it onto the Strip into New Vegas. And that's interestingly enough.
Over two very important aspects that I
probably because we're short on time and still have to cover other games, so I am glossing over some stuff. Yeah,
but don't gloss over Mr. New Vegas or the King.
Okay, Mr. New Vegas is the three dog of New Vegas. He's the radio host. But unlike in
played by Wayne Newsom, who is Mr.
I don't.
Las Vegas.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say I don't know who that is, but the other thing is, unlike in Fallout 3, where you can go meet Three Dog, you can't meet Mr. New Vegas. You just can't. He doesn't exist in the game. He's just a voice on the radio.
They canonize later as, he's an AI run by Mr. House.
Yeah, that is pretty much what they tell you. And then, of course, there's in Freeside, there's a yeah, the King. So there's a whole place where people would. It's apparently a school where people would go to learn how to act like Elvis.
Which if into Las Vegas is a thing.
In the apocalypse, they don't know him as Elvis Presley. They only know him as the King. So you have an entire faction of Elvis impersonators, and the boss of them is the guy who is the most like Elvis.
Also, he has a real sick dog.
Yeah, his name is Rex. He's a cyber dog.
To get a new brain.
Yeah. Oh my God, Jacobstown is great. Jacobstown is a whole town that's super mutants and humans living together, but they're not like the big old kill them all super mutants. It's the original super mutants from 1 and 2 that have like intelligence and personality.
Yeah, and you even get Grandma Nightkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name is Lily.
Now, sweetheart, take your medicine.
No. It's no, sweetheart, take your medicine.
Yeah, Grandma loves you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another thing too. The companions in New Vegas are so much better. They're so much better. They have like they have actual stories, and each one, like the further into the story you get a better perk from having them as your companion. So like Boone, for instance, who is, you know, Mr. I didn't ask for this. Basically. Yeah. They killed my wife.
Is dead.
Yeah. His whole thing is like, I think his perk is the spotter perk, where like you can see there's like a blue glow around enemies in the distance, but like mainly
and it highlights enemies.
Mainly with Boone, if you travel around with him, you'll just be casually walking around, and then suddenly it'll go into the like kill shot mode, where it's like the slow motion where the bullet hits the enemy, and you're like, Boone, where the fuck was that enemy? What the fuck? He's just like, I got it. You're like, got it where? Where was it? And then there's Veronica, who has a whole story with the Brotherhood of Steel in New Vegas, which, by the way,
voiced by Felicia Day.
She is voiced by Felicia Day. Which, by the way, the Brotherhood in New Vegas is not like the Brotherhood in Fallout 3, where they're like, we got a whole Pentagon base and we're doing all this shit. No, they are a small group of cowards hiding in a hole.
The Brotherhood of Steel in New Vegas is like, how did you find our bunker? We're gonna strap a bomb to your fucking neck and have you go kill an NCR Ranger.
Yeah.
Why? Why do they make you kill an NCR Ranger?
Because they don't trust you, and you have to earn their trust.
Also, because he got
yeah, that is also a thing. That is also a thing. They are fighting the NCR. There's a whole
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, there's a location called
because they already lost.
They did. They used to be over Helios 1, yeah, and then the NCR, who has much greater numbers, came in and just kind of wiped them. Even though
it is made very clear that the Brotherhood of Steel did not go down without a fucking hell of a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the NCR
is very clear.
But the NCR had greater numbers and greater supplies.
Had the NCR Rangers.
Mm-hmm. And they won that battle, and then the Brotherhood had to go hide in a bunker. So they're very scared.
The time that I was playing, and I was attacked by NCR, or like I did something to piss off the NCR.
The
and
NCR
that person, the person
you
I
have
was
3
like,
days.
You got 3 days, and I was like, whatever, fuck you, bitch, and I just murked them and took their armor, which is such dope armor. Like, it's really good defense and stuff. And then I walked into a gang hideout and got immediately lit the fuck up because you're still dressed as a member of the NCR.
Yeah, that is the thing. Yeah.
Which is why in the final DLC they give you like the U.S. Army version of.
Yeah, well, they give you. There's actually 2 free versions. If you have Honest Hearts, there's a version that you get from the Father in the Caves, which is a god who wasn't really a god. It was just an old U.S. Army Ranger who slowly died. But he would like, he like helped the tribals in secret.
Well, he helped these kids that were left there, which eventually became the tribes.
But they never saw him. Like, they never knew who he was. He would just like leave them books and stuff and watch as they.
You the single best semi-automatic weapon in the game.
Yeah, and then in Lonesome Road, you can just sort of find a dead body with the U.S. Riot armor, which is just another version.
And then there's Elite U.S. Riot armor later, which is like a heavy armored version.
Mm-hmm. And we can get to the DLCs, which are fucking fantastic, by the way. But
Ulysses
you do eventually
what's
make
his
it.
name?
You do eventually
Father
make it.
Elijah.
Yeah. You do eventually make it into New Vegas, and when you show up, when you roll up into New Vegas and you go into Benny's casino, because Benny owns a fucking casino, by the way, and you're just like, hey man, Benny did some shit to me, and I'm here to. I'm here. Benny did some shit to me. He like shot me in the head, and I'm still alive, and I'm here to kill him. His right hand man goes like, yeah, man, he's upstairs.
Yeah.
He don't even try to stop you. He's just like, yeah, he upstairs. You can go.
Yeah, that guy's like, sounds like your experience was not the top.
Yeah. he's like, he killed you and you got back up. Oh hell no, he's upstairs. You could.
I'm not killed you and you got back up. I ain't getting in your fucking way.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not getting in your business. Hell no.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
And then you roll up on Benny, and Benny's just like, "What in the goddamn?"
Yeah. And this is a point, right? I like this. I like this so much about New Vegas. There's like 100 ways to Sunday to kill Benny. There's so many ways to do it. You can walk up and just shoot him in the face. You can talk him into running away. You can,
you sick fuck.
If you have him crucified.
If you play a female character, you can sleep with him and then shoot him while you're sleeping with him. There's so many ways to kill Benny. Yeah, there's so many ways to kill Benny. It's fucking fantastic. And each of them has.
Did I really just march all the way across the Mojave to kill Benny with a tire iron? Damn straight.
Yep.
You bet your fucking bippy I did.
And then you have to deal with the whole NCR Caesar's Legion situation and fighting over the Hoover Dam. But there's some DLCs to this game, and they're fucking phenomenal. So, Honest Hearts, which I don't think... I'm not doing these in any chronological order because I don't know the order, really. But Honest Hearts, you go into Zion National Park. You go into Zion, according to Joshua Graham. And you basically have these Mormons and these tribals. And you have one tribe that wants to... There's this evil tribe called the White Legs who are they're bossed around, or they're trying to join Caesar's Legion, I think. So they're trying to impress Caesar by killing everybody. And then you have two other tribes. One of them is Joshua Graham as their guardian, and he's like, we should wipe out the White Legs and teach them a lesson. And then the other one, the other Mormon dude, I think his name is like David or Daniel. And he's just like, no, we should take the peaceful road and just leave. And
Dead horses and the sorrows versus the White Leg.
See, my response to that when I played was, America doesn't negotiate with terrorists.
And there's a whole ass story there. Joshua Graham is a fucking fantastic character.
The Lord's work must be done.
And you basically can either choose to wipe out the White Legs or leave peacefully. And then there's by far my favorite, I think, is Old World Blues, because if you have any love for like old ass like 50s and 60s sci-fi where it's just like
sci-fi,
absolutely ridiculous bullshit, that is the entire fucking DLC. It's great. Nice. Yeah, you have this group of brains in jars basically that used to be scientists, and they're all named after some form of infinity, like Ouroboros, who just goes by Dr. Boris. One of them is named 8, which if you turn sideways is an infinity symbol.
One of them is also named 0.
Yeah, one of them is also named 0, and then of course the best one,
Dr. Mobius.
Dr. Mobius, who is literally like a Johnny Quest villain. He's fucking fantastic.
Giant Robo Scorpion.
Yes, my giant Robo Scorpions will murder you.
Would you like a Mentat?
Yeah, when you actually meet him, he's just a crazy old grandpa, and he's like the funnest person to be around He's like, oh, what? I was threatening them. You're like, you threatened the think tank. He's like, I threatened them. I bet I was high off my ass at the time. Would you like a mentat? And you could go in his room, and it's just a fucking pile of mentats, and it's fantastic. But you get so many like cool ass sci-fi bullshit weapons and armor from that DLC, and it's fantastic.
God, it's so good.
Yeah. You get a suit of armor, a suit of stealth armor that talks to you. It's just like, we're going into stealth mode now, sir. Yeah, it's great.
Nobody is less noticed than me.
Yeah.
Also, it automatically feeds you impacts.
There's also up to this point, you've heard a couple references to a character known as Father Elijah, who is like a outcast Brotherhood person because he went crazy, according to them. And in the DLC Dead Money, you actually meet the motherfucker, Father Elijah. And he's fucking crazy. He strapped a bomb collar to your neck, and he's like, you're gonna break into a casino for me, or I'm gonna blow up your head.
To be fair, Elder McNamara also strapped a bomb collar to your neck.
That's true.
In New Vegas, they really hammer home that the Brotherhood of Steel does not like to do things themselves. They just strap bombs to people like fucking terrorists.
But like in Dead Money, the fucking storytelling in that DLC is amazing. Like you get a small group of people and you break into a casino, and that's like the gist of it. But
the storytelling in the entire game is fucking great.
There's a lot more environmental storytelling to it. Like, for instance, one of the members of that group is a ghoul named Dean Domino, who was around when the casino was built way back before the bombs dropped.
Who is, by the way, a direct allegory for Dean Martin.
Yeah, and through him and some of the like terminals and stuff you can find, you find out you're unfolding the story of the people who built the casino at the same time as the story of Father Elijah and his obsession with what's in the casino. And it's fucking fantastic storytelling. And at the end, basically at the very end of it, you find both Sinclair, who was the builder and owner of the casino, and Father Elijah. Although Sinclair's dead, you find his corpse, but you basically get the end of both of those stories at the same time, and it's done in such a beautiful way, storytelling wise, that you just feel incredibly vindicated.
Yeah, no matter what option you take.
Yeah, and like I'm glossing over a lot.
Someone knocking at someone's door?
Oh, sorry, that was my chair.
I'm glossing over a lot, but you have like Christine, who's a hunter from the Brotherhood of Steel, who's trying to track down Father Elijah. You have a Nightkin who has multiple personalities. One is dog and one is God. I don't think he was a
Nightkin. I'm pretty sure he was just.
No, he was a blue. He's a blue super mutant. Those are Nightkin. And then you had Dean Domino as your other member of your party. And you find like there's these creepy the enemies from there are these creepy like biosuit wearing motherfuckers who don't speak, and they just kind of hiss at you and like throw spears and bombs and shit, and you can kill them, but they will get back up unless you pierce the suit. That you have to like cut off a limb and stuff. And you find out through like environmental storytelling that these were workers who were building the casino, and when they dug deep enough underground, they found this weird mist, and then the bombs dropped, and they were locked outside with the mist, and eventually they just turned into like weird fucking mist creatures.
Which one is that? Is that Dead Money?
Yeah, that's Dead Money.
Yeah.
So when you pop them open, instead of human remains, all you get is you get like these yellow spores that go everywhere, and it's really weird.
Well, there's still a body in there, but they're not really human anymore.
Yeah,
it's
no.
kind of like the spore creatures in Vault. What is it, 22, and also
it's somewhere between that.
And also like the Y11 or Y17.
Yeah, the trauma harness where it's just a skeleton in a suit, but the suit is the one piloting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
between that and the spore
yeah, and then that's a whole thing from the base game. Like there's a vault where they took the cordyceps virus and it mutated and it took over humans, and you just have to kill the spore creatures, and you find a ghoul scientist in there, and she's like, we cannot let this. Yeah, she's basically like, you cannot let this spread into the Mojave, and you burn everything.
Or alternatively, you can choose to leave it as an example of what the fuck not to do. That is also
but then the NCR finds it and tries to use it, and it's really shitty.
And it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
May I reiterate? Fuck the NCR.
Fuck them in the ass.
And when I say always, you say true to Kaiser.
All right, let's not plagiarize Russian Badger.
And then, of course, we have my.
When I say ad, you say Victorium.
Not my favorite, but the final DLC, Lonesome Road, where you're contacted by another courier who basically tells you. Yeah.
The bear and the bull,
yeah.
and the bear.
He basically summons you to this place. So essentially the story he tells you throughout the course of you going to find him, because that's what Lonesome Road is. It's just you tracking down Ulysses. Is essentially there used to be a city where Lonesome Road takes place, but your courier delivered a package there, and what the package was some sort of nuclear launch codes.
No. What your courier delivered was a detonator, and somebody found out the hard way that there was still nuclear hardware on site.
Yeah, and you just nuked the divide, basically.
It's not necessarily, it's not implicitly your fault from your perspective, because you're just like, he's like, there's no way you couldn't have known. Meanwhile, from your perspective, you're like, bro, I'm the FedEx guy. I just left a box on somebody's doorstep.
Yeah, and
unless you want to role play it as, I did that.
The beautiful thing with Lonesome Road is that in the base game and in all the DLCs leading up to this, they mentioned so many times there's another courier. And they mentioned so many times that, like, when you go to,
they talked about another courier as well.
When you go to the he asked them questions and they short-circuited and had to reset their memory because of what Ulysses asked them. When you go to the station after you revive, you go to Prim, where you find the courier service, basically the home base of the courier service.
Yeah, and they talk about how another courier had been through recently.
And he saw your name on a list and went white in the face and refused to do the job.
Yeah, basically. Carrying the platinum chip, which is what Benny shot you to steal. He said, the guy tells you that he said when he saw your name next on the list to carry the platinum chip, he said, I'm not going to do it. Let that guy do it, basically. But they lead up to this. They tell you, and there's a lot of this with Father Elijah too. Like you hear a lot about Father Elijah up until you murder him, and then throughout the rest of the DLCs and all of that.
I don't murder him. I just only sort of murder him slowly.
Throughout the rest of the DLCs and all of that, you keep hearing about this other courier, and then eventually you have this final climactic battle with Ulysses, where you can either fight him or convince him to fight. I think it's the marked men or whatever.
The marked men.
The marked men, yeah.
The not quite ghouls that live in the divide. But yeah, you have this whole battle at the end, and it's a physical battle. It's much more, due to the writing, it's much more a battle of like principles and morals of two opposing minds, basically. And it's written in such a fantastic way. There's just no matter what ending you pick for that, it's like, oh, that was super good. And then you still have to do the damn battle after that, so it's not really a final It's not really a final confrontation. I will say once you take it on Ulysses, doing the whole damn battle feels like It's like this feels like I could have done the battle with Ulysses after doing this, but unfortunately, due to the game, the way the game is coded, the battle for Hoover Dam is the final battle.
Really
the game
done
ends.
It like Broken Steel.
Yeah, the game just ends at that point.
After Hoover Dam.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a very well written, very well produced game, with a lot of really cool shit, some of which made it into Fallout 4. Not the writing though. Like yeah, basically.
Yeah, so the best part about Fallout 4 having come after Fallout New Vegas is they got to sort of be like, okay, so people like this, people like that, we're going to bring those into the game. The worst part about it is Bethesda had a super fucking, like, inferiority complex issue with Obsidian for making a better game than them. So, like, they left out a bunch of specific things because people liked them better. At least that's how it feels playing it. Fallout 4 is an incredible shooter game. It is an ass-awful RPG. It plays kind of like a Fallout game. You got a similar story. Your character is I assume most of you listening and or watching have probably seen and played Fallout 4. But here's a quick breakdown. You're the sole survivor. You're a character from before the war. You went into cryostasis. You get woken up from some random guy stealing your kid because you went in with your wife and kid, or husband and kid, depending on which character you play. Kid gets stolen. You wake up. Your whole thing is, I have to find Sean, who's my dear
yeah,
child.
They did a heavy rain.
Press X to Sean.
Press X to Sean.
You go through the motions of running around trying to find your kid, which if you just exclusively do the main storyline, you will run into 1, 2, 3, 4 different companions, I think. Let's see.
You get Nick Valentine, Paladin Dan.
In order, you get Preston Garvey. Then you get
Dogmeat. Does Dogmeat count?
Sort of, kind of, I guess. I'm not going to count
Dogmeat and then Preston Garvey in that case.
So, well, I'm not going to count Dogmeat. So you get Garvey, you get Piper, Nick Valentine, and the only reason I say Piper first is because you can immediately do her interview, and then she'll come with you, and you can take her with you to go find Valentine, and then after Valentine, you will run into X83, and X83 can potentially be a follower if you side with the Institute. The whole thing is there's this boogeyman called the Institute who we learned about back in Fallout 3. What he was saying with the whole Harkness thing, there's a guy who's called an android, a synthetic man. You can turn him back over to his, I guess, builder or handler or whatever, who's one of the pissant doctors in Rivet City. And Dr. Lee from Rivet City is also part of the Institute. But yeah, so they make synthetic people. That's like their whole thing that they do. But yeah, it's this whole boogeyman experience of you trying to find your son and finding out that shit ain't the way you think it is with the Institute. And you can side with...
There's also, I think before you meet X83, you meet Deacon.
No, because you have to specifically find the railroad. Like you have to go looking for the Brotherhood of Steel. For it, though.
You don't have to find the railroad to find Deacon.
No,
he's following you. If you exclusively
follow the main quest, you will not intrinsically find the railroad. You will intrinsically find the Minutemen and only the Minutemen. The Minutemen is the only faction that you will run into, like that you will explicitly be asked to join. If you only do the main storyline, until you get to the Institute will also explicitly ask you to join.
I think you're forgetting something.
The Brotherhood of Steel? No, if you never go find Dance, you will not be explicitly asked to join. If if you only do the next quest, you will go to Concord, then you will go to Diamond City, then you will go looking for Kellogg. You'll find Fort Hagen. You'll kill Kellogg. You come out, and then the Brotherhood of Steel.
Hey, I also need to correct an earlier statement of yours where you said you went through all the companions, but you forgot Hancock, because you do have to go to the memory den in order to get some shit from Kellogg. That is part of the main story.
But you do not get him as a follower if you only.
But you do run into him.
You do run into him, but you will have no idea that he's a follower if you only do main storylines. Which technically, if you only do main storylines, you won't get Piper as a follower either, because that's a side quest.
None of these are the best follower in the game, though.
The best follower in the
Codsworth.
game is
Actually, you can have Codsworth as a follower.
Me. Codsworth is the best follower in the game. Fight me.
I will fight you, and I'll say McCready is the best follower in the game.
Why? Because he's voiced by the illustrious Matt Mercer?
No, because he's fucking McCready.
This is Mayor McCready.
Yeah, McCready is also another character that you met in Fallout 3 as the Lone Wanderer, who was the 8-year-old mayor of Little Lamplight, which he addresses in Fallout 4. Yeah, so some of the key differences between New Vegas and 4 is, instead of having different weapon types and modded weapons, you no longer have unique weapons of any kind. You have what are called legendary weapons, which you get off of legendary type weapons, and it will be a random piece of loot with a random legendary modifier.
Fun fact, that's a shooter Call of Duty trope and not an RPG trope.
There are a few legendary weapons that will always specifically have one specific legendary.
Yeah, such as Grognak's axe, the bat that you
double
get.
Take, the fucking fat man that shoots 2 rockets, 2 nukes.
Nope. You can get 2-shot off of other things.
Is it?
Because in that case, spray and play would be the only explosive weapon in the game, but you can get an explosive minigun by just farming Hubris Comics. Anyway, Grognak's axe, the Little League bat, and what the fuck was the other one? Ah, yes, Kremva's tooth and the Shemdrown sword are the only, which technically technically only Grognak's axe is the only unique weapon, because of the way that the modding system works for weapons. The bat, the Little League bat, is still a bat that you can customize.
Can I interject?
The Kremva's tooth you can just turn into a regular machete, and the Shemdrown sword is just a revolutionary sword.
I like about 2-shot? You can get the Merv launcher attachment and shoot 12 mini nukes.
Can I just interject real quick?
And actually,
there are several unique weapons in Fallout 4, weapons of which only one exists in the game world. Some are found in specific locations, while others are obtained as quest rewards. These are different from legendary weapons, which are randomly generated from a table of possible effects. Some unique weapons also have legendary effects without the normal legendary weapon prefix. So
okay, were you going to go into the Deliverer, which is the only pistol of its kind?
December's Child, Deliverer, Eddie's Piece, Flare Gun, The Gainer, Justice,
December's
Pistol,
hang on. December's
Rifle,
Child,
The Last Minute, Le Fusil Terribilis, Lucky Eddie, Old Reliable, Overseer's Guardian, The Problem Solver, Radical Conversion, Reba and Reba 2, Silver Submachine Gun,
Here's the
Cannon,
thing,
Spray
though.
and Pray, Tinker Tom Special, Wasteland's
Here's
Friend.
the thing, though. Stop right there. Almost every single weapon that you just listed is something you can still customize and is not a unique weapon. Let me explain. In Fallout New Vegas, you had a weapon called a minigun. If you've ever played a game with a minigun before, you know what a minigun is. In Fallout New Vegas, there is a unique minigun with no spin-up delay called the CZ-25 Avenger. It has its own special paint scheme. It has its own special barrel texture, and there is no spin-up delay. You pull the trigger and it fires. The mods that you can put on weapons in Fallout New Vegas don't really apply to unique weapons.
You can't mod unique weapons because I have the matter manipulator, and you can't mod the matter manipulator.
Yeah. Here's the thing. The first unique weapon that I ran into was the spray and play. The spray and play is just a Thompson submachine gun that you buy off of a merchant, and then you can put a different barrel on it. You can put a different drum magazine on it. You can put a different buttstock on it. You can put different sights on it. It is otherwise exactly the same as every other submachine gun in the game, except that it naturally comes with and is guaranteed to have every time you run into it the explosive legendary property. The only truly unique game or weapon in the game that comes to mind is the deliverer pistol, because you can't get any other pistol like it. It's the only, semi-automatic 9mm type weapon. Although I don't think, but Grognek's axe is still a melee weapon that moves exactly like a bat. Although I will say it is still unique in the sense that it also is an axe and is always an axe, and you can't really modify it. But like December's Child, you get from a vault. And it's in like a vault shop. The only thing, it's just another combat rifle. The only thing special about it is it has the M4 carbine perk, which just means it uses 5.56 ammo instead of 45. But otherwise, and I think it has like 15% faster loading time. But otherwise, you can put all the other different things. It's just a combat rifle. There's nothing special about it.
Well, there is something special about it.
Which is that it has a legendary perk that you can't get anywhere else. But like the spray and play, there's nothing special about the spray and play, because you can just farm Hubrix comics and just get another explosive submachine gun. Like legendary weapons was it abandoned unique weapons basically to do that, and it just, I don't know, it takes part of the soul out of the game, because like, even like I said, there's a uniquely magical weapon. There are very, very few things in Fallout lore from 1 to 4, and I don't count 76 because 76 is kind of a clusterfuck. That are unique in the sense that they are like actually magic, because the Fallout franchise doesn't really go in the direction of the Elder Scrolls. But Kremva's tooth is a weapon that is associated with some kind of elder deity, and there's like this subplot with the Dunwich family that is sort of told to you in an archaeological way and doesn't really,
by the way,
give you a lot of detail.
I can't wait for in the future when we just get fucking Fallout Dunwich and it's just all Eldritch horror. That's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah.
Fallout Cthulhu.
So whereas the Elder Scrolls has like cosmology, the divines, and magic and stuff, and that the Fallout franchise doesn't have any objective canon where it's like, no, this is exactly that, except that there is the Dunwich family, which was basically lifted straight out of H.P. Lovecraft, and there is some freaky shit that is not told precisely what is happening, but is all heavily implied, with one or two magical artifacts, and it's cosmic horror.
That's part of Point Lookout, by the way, is you find a book called the Krivbekne, and you have to take it to the Dunwich building and throw it on the magical hell
the obelisk.
Yeah.
The obelisk, yeah. And then in Fallout 4, you get to the bottom of a mine, and you start like seeing visions and stuff, and at the very bottom of it you get Kremva's tooth. And the story with that is the Dunwich borers, which is like they're boring into this like granite pit, basically. It's like a, your typical quarry. But I get, you read through some of the updates and stuff there's 4 different terminals, I believe, as you get deeper and deeper into the mine. And then there's an area of the mine that's boarded off. And when you go in there, there's things happening, like enemies you've already killed getting back up, and lights turning off after you've turned them back on. And every so often, you will just see a vision, and you'll like see and hear stuff that's going on. And then when you come out of the vision, there's stuff there that wasn't there a minute ago. And as you read this, you're talking about that as they get closer and closer to whatever it is that the Dunwich had them getting towards, more bad things are happening. And then when you finally get down there, it's just that you sort of find this altar that was buried and abandoned like probably thousands of years ago, and that's where you find the weapon, Kremva's tooth, which is a sacrificial dagger, basically, and it was driving these people crazy as they got closer to it. Anyway, that's like a whole subplot.
For some reason, it doesn't affect you at all.
Yeah, no, it doesn't affect you because you've got protagonist plot armor.
I will
but
say
it does sort of affect you because visions and shit.
There is none of the Eldritch Dunwich bullshit in Fallout New Vegas. There's none of it.
Yeah, no, that's something that's been exclusive to Bethesda. Obsidian did not do any of the Dunwich subplot in New Vegas. But I mean, yeah, I've more or less explained the plot of the game. You have, of course, the Railroad and the Brotherhood of Steel, who have directly opposing views, which is that the Railroad, as its forebear of its name, they believe that the synths are essentially enslaved and that they work to free them. And then you have the Brotherhood of Steel with their in Fallout 4, the Brotherhood of Steel really ramps up its likeness to the Imperium of Man, where they start referring to anything that isn't human as muties, and they say it the same way that Space Marines say Xenos.
Yeah,
their whole ad victoriam. The way they say ad victoriam is very much the same energy as for the Emperor.
The way they resurrect Liberty Prime for some bullshit.
Yeah, they use Liberty. They rebuild Liberty Prime. They've got like basically a spaceship. They got an airship called the Pridwin.
By the way, interesting fact about the Pridwin: the leader, the elder of the Brotherhood of Steel.
Yeah, I was just about to get there. There are a lot of recurring characters in Fallout 4 that are from Fallout 3.
No, not even that. I was going to talk about the ship. His name is Arthur Maxson, and his ship is the Pridwin.
It's Arthurian lore. Yeah, I'm aware.
Arthur and his ship, the Pridwin.
Yeah, that's why he actually either him or one of the captains goes out of their way to tell you that that's why it's called the Pridwin.
Also,
because of Arthurian lore that they've preserved.
You can walk. He's like, so now that you've gotten to take a look around, what do you think of the ship? You can tell him cute boat, and he's like, calling this vessel a boat is an insult to its heritage.
Yeah, which frankly I agree with, regardless of who controls it. That's the insult.
Elder Maxson can be found in Fallout 3 in the Citadel as Squire Maxson, and he's around the same age as McCready.
Yeah, he's about the same age as McCready. He's like 8 years old. He's a squire to Elder Lyons. He is the son of the current over elder, who's from the direct line of the original founder. When you meet him in Fallout 4, he's this hard ass second Iraqi tour U.S. Army Ranger type personality. He's even got the haircut for it. He's super religious fanatic. You get the idea that he basically ousted Elder Lyons when he eventually became of age, did the whole chains that bind thing, which is, it really sucks because it really seems like the Lions Pride chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel really seems like the future of the Fallout franchise, to be quite frank. It feels very inevitable that the final game will be the NCR versus the Lions Pride.
I also got to say, the original Maxson, which you meet in Fallout 1, what an interesting fella.
Yep. Certainly more interesting than Arthur Maxson, who's basically just, for the Emperor!
Yeah, the original Maxson,
his entire
which
character.
I think his name was John Maxson or something like that. He's just kind of he's just kind of yeah, man, these scientists these scientists are all fucked up, and they did some fucked up shit, and we like lined them up and shot them.
Yeah,
for doing fucked up shit. He
it's like, hey, we found out what Vault-Tec was up to, and that really wasn't cool.
He
so
basically
we
killed the science team.
Those guys.
Okay, so really quick,
he killed the science team that created FEV.
I said the litany is clear a second ago, and for some reason Google decided that I was talking to it and searched.
What was clear?
The litany is clear.
Yeah.
That's a thing that the Brotherhood says in Fallout 4.
Yeah. I pretty much always go full Brotherhood of Steel every time because just, power armor and bravado.
Shiny outfits.
Yeah, them swanky shiny outfits. Oh yeah, the Atom Cats is a faction in Fallout 4.
Oh.
Yeah, like really, like the Fallout lore. Fallout 4 is one of those things where it's like, if you look at it too hard, the lore starts to fall apart. So please don't do that.
Roger Maxson was his name.
Yeah, Roger Maxson's from Fallout 1. But I don't know. It's like I said. It's. Oh, I totally glossed over the settlement building system. You got a settlement building system. Go play it. It's great.
I don't really.
I don't want to go into all the details of the settlement building system because like it's not really my thing. I'm like, do you got enough water? Do you got enough defenses? Cool. Stop talking to me.
I don't really like the settlement defense or the settlement building system from what I've seen of it. It's like, why is it a thing?
It's a thing because it gives you something more to do, and it kind of like fills out the world a little bit more. And like, I get it.
Pay the guy to put the stuff for you.
What?
Why can't you just do it like you do in Skyrim when you buy a house and just pay someone to put shit in there for you?
Doing some building, eh? Because it's Fallout and there's no longer like a structured society where you can just like have lumber delivered to you. You got to go get that shit yourself.
Pay fucking Preston Garvey to do it.
He's too busy. He's too busy hearing about settlements that need your help.
I'll mark it on your map. Sick 360, bro. But another pipe.
Yeah, it feels really distilled to put it down that way, but like really, that's all there is to Fallout 4. Like, it's a great shooter. It's a terrible RPG. Oh, I suppose I can mention the USS Constitution and that fun quest line.
What is that? The one where you like get an actual
Captain
ship that
Ironside.
flies? Yeah, Captain Ironside.
Yeah. Drat you, Weatherby Sales and Loans. Ahoy!
What a silly thing. What a silly thing.
All I gotta say is play it. You'll enjoy it for the gameplay, and you'll hate the storyline, which is why the mod Fallout London exists.
As out of curiosity, what's your favorite kind of power armor? What's your favorite suit of power armor?
My favorite suit of power armor is a mix of T60 and XO1.
I like the XO1 armor. I like the helmet.
I absolutely despise the way the XO1 helmet looks because it just looks fucking stupid. And I know it's like, oh, it's true to the first game. Yeah, that doesn't change the fact that it looks fucking stupid.
I kind of have always liked the Tesla armor.
Yeah, the Tesla armor looks pretty. That's the other funny thing is in Fallout 4, the only Tesla armor option that you get is a T60 variant, which they say was developed by the Brotherhood of Steel in response to the Enclave's development of XO3 Hellfire armor. So like the T60 is supposed to be the answer to Hellfire, but then at the beginning of the game, when you go into the vault, the guards have T60. So I always make sure I have a mod that they have T51 because that was supposed to be like the newest, best, most powerful armor that the U.S. Army had pre-war. So like, yeah, sure, that's cool. I would actually appreciate a mod where those two particular gentlemen are wearing T45 because, as far as I know, in lore, T51 was only ever deployed in Anchorage. So...
according to the wiki, the T-65 was the last suit of armor developed before the Great War.
Yeah, but they state in-game
it's
that
interesting
they developed the T-60 in response to the Enclave.
My
there's either somebody's lying to you or they can't keep track of their own lore. Which, to be frank, it's Bethesda, so they probably just can't keep track of their own lore.
My two favorite sets of power armor in all of the games is the XO1 and the Outcast power armor from Fallout 3.
Which is a paint scheme for the T45.
Yeah. Which, by the way, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks like Shadow the Hedgehog painted on a T45. Yeah, I mean, I think there's also a mod that gives you that as a paint scheme option for the T45 in 4.
I still really like the Tesla armor.
I can guarantee it. 4 has a lot of really cool mods, not as many and not as cool as the ones that are for New Vegas. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say about 4. 4 is honestly a pretty simple game. So is our dear lore master still with us?
Yeah, you're going to talk about...
I think he's checked out.
You're going to talk about the horrendous train wreck that is Fallout 76.
Is he just like not able to speak? That's also
if he's talking, we can't hear him.
Possibly, yeah, because his camera's off, so I don't know what's going on. Yep, that must have been what was going on.
Yeah, because I bet he'll rejoin the call in a second. Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
And we still can't hear you, bud. Well, I bet he's been saying shit about what we've been saying this whole time. And
probably.
We just haven't heard him.
Is the audio is it a phone issue? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So my headset's just a piece of shit. And
so were you trying to contribute to the conversation this entire time?
For like the last 15 minutes.
Okay, what's your favorite suit of power armor?
Give me a minute. I'm trying to figure out why the fuck my headset won't work. And I'm annoyed as hell by this, by the way. Because I think I figured it out though. Hold on, let me try something. Am I audible?
Yes, you've been audible this week.
Audible.com.
Okay. No, I'm wearing my headset now. All right, favorite power armor. Well, I have to argue that it's the Liberty Prime thing, but
no, I mean like favorite type.
I don't really know because like T45 was around for the longest. Yeah, and I remember in Fallout 3, like there's one suit.
No,
there's T51.
There's actually two suits of T50.
There's two suits because there's if you get broken steel, there's also the winterized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's three actually because there's T51B.
I was going to say, to be clear, that's T51B.
And then there's also the medic armor is a T51.
I don't know why it matters whether or not my microphone's plugged in because when I talk, you all just talk over me anyway. So
I mean, we've all been talking over each other this whole time, so it's an editing nightmare.
I'm just saying, like, I got to ask a question and I'm trying to answer it. And as soon as I start to talk, like, about whatever I said, like, dude, just let me answer the fucking question. Come on.
All right. What's your favorite power armor?
I think I'd have to go with the XO1. But like, I mean, there's a special place in my heart for the T51 just because, like to me, it was like such a big deal to get it. Although the reason that I like the XO1 more is because the T51 is like talked up as this kick-ass suit, and then you get it and you're like, yeah, but the T45 looks better.
You're just wrong if you think the T51 looks better than the T45.
I will say that my runner-up is the XO2, the Enclave power armor.
Well, what game is that in?
The XO2?
In Fallout 4.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
because I know they have the Quantum suit in Fallout 4.
So
Fallout 3 is literally just called Enclave power armor.
Yeah, so
like an XO 2.5, which is the Tesla power armor, and then there is a Creation Club
Advanced Power Armor Mark II in Fallout 3 is XO2 power armor.
Yeah.
What color is that? Is there a yellow one? Because I don't remember there being a yellow one. But she's asking me what's the yellow one
Of Exo 2?
Yellow one is Fallout 76.
of power armor. Are you talking
like construction power
The
armor?
yellow
There's a
one
construction
is
power armor.
It's called the excavator. Yeah, the excavator power armor is in Fallout 76.
Okay, that's a Fallout 76. I haven't played Fallout 76. So, there you go. That one.
I still think the T60 looks better than the Exo one.
I haven't actually seen the T60 really in game.
So I like the T60 pretty well, but I pretty much always pair it with somebody else's chest plate because, why is this fucking shelf here? What the hell is going on?
That's true.
That does look pretty cool.
It's just am I gonna be purging muties and then take my helmet off and eat from the lunch I brought with me in this tray? What the fuck is happening there? And you can't be oh, it's a thing where you can grab onto the handles and step up. You get into it from the back. There's no reason.
I don't understand how you can say the T51 looks better than the T45. The T51 looks like a fucking tin can. The T45 actually has character to it.
The T45 is also really cool though.
Fucking good. I really like the T45. I just like how much beefier the T60 is.
Although I will say, absolute favorite, like I said before, is the Tesla armor, which is an XO2 suit. So.
Yeah, it's like an XO2.
I've been trying for the last 15 minutes when apparently my mic was completely shut off to segue into Fallout 76. And I just thought you guys were being assholes, but
no, it's just your mic not working.
We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we got to the end of our tirade, and we're like, "Hey, Dave, are you there?"
Yeah, I'm here. Anyway, so 76 is what I can say because I played now, when they started and after they started trying to fix everything. And I've been able to kind of see both sides of it. There's a fuck ton of negative about the game. When it came out, it had no NPCs, which is just dumb. Why? I mean, the idea was
the NPCs.
Yeah, that was the idea. Everybody can operate as a shop. Everyone can operate as an NPC.
Yeah,
but that's not entirely accurate because you can't give people quests.
Yeah, all the quests are fucking.
The idea, from what I understood, was you're supposed to basically set up your economy, and they just left.
Excuse me, fellow players.
Literally, everybody was going to be a raider.
Do you have some ammunition that I could purchase? And they say, I fucked your mom last night.
I just found a suit of power armor that's painted it's called the Hot Rod Shark Paint, but it looks like the Mandalorian helmet. The helmet is painted like a Mandalorian helmet.
The Hot Rod Shark Paint is basically military plus World War I bomber.
So the thing is, pre-Wastelanders, which is before they had NPCs, pre-Wastelanders, the game was what you would end up with is there were some players, the same people who gave a shit about the settlement building. What I will give them is this: their upgrade to the settlement building system within 76 is a really, really good system, and it's much better than the settlement building system in 4. That being said, I never gave a shit about building settlements, and I still don't give a shit about building them now. So there is a sense of just I don't want to, and I don't care. You can make these things called vending machines. The only reason to build a camp, which is what they call the settlements in this game, the only reason, in my opinion, to build a camp is to you get a free fast travel point. So to fast travel in 76 costs caps, which is also bullshit, if you ask me.
That's retarded. It costs money to fast travel?
Yeah, it costs money to fast travel. So the thing is, what you can do is if you know you're going to have a zone that's going to be your hub for the next several missions, you can set your camp near that, and then you get a free fast travel to your camp no matter where you go. Now you have 2 camps. You can set up a camp and then like a sub camp, and a lot of people have the sub camp set up near the final boss area, just so they can go like teleport down there anytime someone summons the big badass queen. That being said, some of the things that going MMO do allow for you for is you can have sort of like event quests that happen around the world, and people can come in and like join you for event quests, and you get goodies. And then also you can do things like they don't really have raids, but they have something similar that they call like daily ops. And you go into like most of the time you're going into a vault with a really fucked up experiment.
For example, Vault 94.
Yeah, but I haven't done any of those yet, so I don't know like.
Well, Vault 94's whole thing was like they said it was to preserve society, but really all it was is they put a bunch of religious nuts into a vault. No weapons, no armor, no way to fight anything once the vault opened, after 100 days or 100 years or whatever it was. But no, it was 100 days. They had a safety period of 100 days after the bomb fell. Then they could open the door, and then after they opened the door, they sent out like, what's the word that they used for it? It wasn't envoys, it was ambassadors. They sent out like 15 ambassadors who all got killed, and then a bunch of people showed up, or a group of people showed up and destroyed the GEC that they had, the Guard Divinity Creation Kit that they had in Vault 94, and killed all the
I do think I recall that. So the mission in 76, the GEC is basically like it's gone haywire, and so there's like it's created some weird ass life forms, and you have to go in and take them out, which doesn't fit with any Fallout lore whatsoever. They just needed a raid.
No, pretty much nothing about 76 fits in. About 76 is contradictory to all previous.
Fallout 76 is more canon than Brotherhood of Steel.
That's true.
That fucking sucks, by the way.
The main story of Fallout 76 primarily is
Take Me Home.
You wake up in the vault after a drunken party, and
can y'all let Dave
you
talk
wake up in a vault after the drunken party, and the overseer basically says like, hey, it's Reclamation Day, and essentially Vault 76, I think most people know this. The idea was the vault was sealed for 25 years. After 25 years, it opens up, and everyone in Vault 76 was like the cream of the crop, the best, the smartest, the goodest people, because their goal was to rebuild society after that 25 years. They were supposedly supposed to be one of the first vaults to open for the sake of like making sure that there's something there. There's a society that's been constructed and built so that as the other vaults start opening later, there's places for people to go. That being said, you utterly fail at that. So when you get out of the vault,
by literally every other Fallout game.
Also by the fact that everyone wants to be a raider.
When you get out of the vault, you find out that there's essentially what you find out is that shortly after the bombs, there was a group that called themselves the Responders, which were made out of first responder units, policemen, firemen, paramedics, that they basically created their own sort of little faction, and they were trying to help people. And there were 2 issues that they ran into. The first was raiders. There were raiders that lived up in the mountains, which you go to later, and you find out that essentially the raiders up in the mountains were a bunch of rich people at a resort. And so when everything went to hell, you had like a few different people who were like set up to be leaders. And one of them is named David Thorpe, and and prior to Thorpe, there was another leader who was much less keen on raiding everybody and was more like, hey, you know, we shouldn't be dicks just for the sake of being dicks. We should do what we need to do. We should do what we need to do to survive. And if we end up having to raid somebody for that, we end up having to raid somebody for that. But at the same time, we should do what we can to be more or less amicable with everybody. Aside from that, Thorpe was like, "Fuck that noise! Murder everybody and take all their shit." And so he, after getting tired of listening to the previous boss, murders her, becomes the new boss, and then you can guess how that goes from there. So what happened, the major storyline beats for him are that the responders were set up in Charleston, which is the capital of West Virginia. And that was where their headquarters were. During just before Christmas, Thorpe's girlfriend decided to take a raider crew down there to steal Thorpe a birthday present. And while she was there, she got captured by the responders. Thorpe, because he can't imagine a world where people exist that don't do exactly what he would do in any given situation. Thorpe believes that because he would have killed her if he was the enemy in that situation, that obviously that's what the responders did. So he raids a Brotherhood outpost like a fucking boss, steals their fat man and 3 mini nukes, and launches a mini nuke into the dam and floods the entire city of Charleston, wiping out most of the responders.
Including his girlfriend.
And his girlfriend, yep, because he just didn't fucking know she was alive. And he assumed that since he would have killed her in that scenario, if he was the responders, that obviously that's what the responders would do. So he just assumed they killed her, blamed them for her death, and attacked them without any attempt at diplomacy. Also, by the way, the whole, as you go through this whole like story, like the main problem of Appalachia getting fucked over is just like everybody just immediately went for murder. Like nobody had any self-control or common decency whatsoever once the bombs fell. Except the responders. Except the responders. And the responders got dicked over because they were too nice.
That sucks.
Yeah. So the responders move to Morgantown. That becomes their new head base. And they reach out to the town of Flatwoods, which becomes sort of a secondary base for them. And then we start dealing with the Scorched. So unlike what a lot of people think about this, the Scorched are not ghouls. They are a separate set of enemies. They are very ghoul-like, however. The difference is a feral ghoul doesn't use weapons. It just like screams bloody murder and runs at you. They're effectively zombies. A Scorched maintains a modicum of their mind, and as a result, they can remember things such as how to operate a firearm or how to drive a vehicle to some degree.
God to do all the work.
So the thing is that they seem to have some kind of hive mind, and the way that the Scorched come about is there's a race. I don't even know if they deserve that terminology, but whatever. Whoa. There's a species of bat that was experimented on by the Enclave that gets out, and essentially what it does is its breath.
The coronavirus.
It pretty much, its breath turns people. Its breath or its bite will turn people into Scorched, and like there's actually a side story that follows a character who gets bit by the queen. The Scorch Beast Queen. Scorch Beast is what they call the bats because they're massive now.
That's what they are. Okay.
Yeah, the Scorch Beast Queen bites this chick and also eats her dogs, and she gets mad because this thing ate her dogs, and she chases the bitch down and tries to kill it. And over the course of time, you kind of like see her slowly discover things about the Scorched virus or whatever the fuck, the Scorched plague they call it. So, like, for example, there's a point where the Scorch Beast Queen infects a Mirelurk, and that Mirelurk turns on its entire, like, Mirelurk crew and kills them all. And then it becomes scorched, and then it just kind of follows around with the lady and doesn't attack her at all. And the queen, the Scorch Beast Queen, doesn't regard her as an enemy, even though at this point she has not mentally like fallen at all. She's still dead set on killing that bitch for killing her dogs. And she's only just started to like get like the skin lesions and stuff that are reminiscent of the plague. But over time, of course, she like slowly ends up turning, and at the end you see her like turn to this hive mind and this sense of we'll never be alone, and it's really creepy. I did want to bring up, you guys brought up the Dunwich thing. They actually continue that story in 76.
Yeah, they have the whole fucking interloper bullshit in Fallout 76.
So in 76, a big sort of like aside is the cult of the Mothman. And to be more direct, the cult of the Mothman has a defector who goes from worshiping the Mothman to worshiping an entity called the Interloper. And one of the things that connects these is if you go to, I think it's either Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, you go to like the bottom of like a waterfall or something to get something. And while there, you see like a buried metal face.
Yeah, that's Fallout 4. That's the
that's Fallout 4.
That's
in the Dunwich Horrors quest line in
Mhm.
Fallout 4.
Yeah. So
That's at the bottom of the mine.
So if you go to Lucky Hole Mine in Fallout 76, you'll find a whole bunch of storyline about the Interloper and the cult around him. And when you finally find the room with the Interloper in it, which, well, we don't know if it's the Interloper or not, but it appears to be a living, breathing plant root thing that they've created. And when you strike it, it does bleed. But it's not like an enemy that... Yeah, like if you hit it with a melee weapon, it bleeds. But I mean, it's not an enemy you can fight or anything. But in that room are 4 metal faces that have been excavated out of the ground and are like facing from different directions around the room. And there's a lot of evidence to point to the fact that this is like where the Dunwich Horrors storyline starts, was this attempt to summon the Interloper.
Well, it's sort of a continuation of it because all the Dunwich stuff that we've covered up to this point was all done pre-war.
Oh, is it?
Well, some of it.
Well, there's also a place called Tanagra Town, which is a Star Trek reference, by the way. And a big chunk of Tanagra Town has been just ripped out of the ground by these vines and is held up like an island floating in the air. And if you go up into that island, there's a sort of like cave you can go into, and you find a bunch of cave crickets and shit. And at the end of that cave is another excavated face. So we're not quite sure. They haven't really done anything with that storyline yet. But one thing on a more positive note for 76, one thing they did do well, because they had to, because they didn't put NPCs in the game, is like sort of ambient storytelling, like environmental storytelling. So there's a lot of stuff you get by just like getting into an area and seeing what's going on, and then you get like maybe a few recordings or little like notes that you could pick up to kind of confirm the important details. And one of those, oh man, I just had this in my head what I wanted to talk about, and it just fucking went away. Damn it. there's a storyline that I wanted to cover.
Yeah,
That's in
archaeological
there.
storytelling.
Say what?
Archaeological storytelling.
Well, it is, yeah, but there was a specific story I kind of wanted to talk about that I thought was interesting, and I'm forgetting completely what it is now. I do know there's a story that talks about like that aliens exist, and that within this place, or within, there's a guy who lived in some apartments in Morgantown, and he was part of some group of people who were, I think, government involved, and they knew about the aliens and didn't want other people to. And there was.
You didn't even hardly touch on the Zetans.
Oh, so we don't know if the Zetans are in the game or not, but that being said, there is an alien in the game, and they call it the Flatwoods Monster. And you can, it's, they added cryptids. That's another interesting thing. So they added cryptids, and specifically what they added were a Wendigo, the Flatwoods Monster, the Grafton Monster.
The Mothman.
They have the Mothman, and then they have a Mega Sloth. I don't know if the Mega Sloth was like a cryptid that existed before, but it's considered a cryptid in the game for some reason.
Zeta, you're very, very quiet. I don't know if that's just me.
No, he is
I
pretty
have you
quiet.
turned up all the way, and I can barely hear you.
Me.
I've only got him at about half volume, and I can hear him fine.
Who?
You.
Well, that's because I'm not sitting up against the microphone anymore. I was like speaking directly into the microphone before, and now I'm like.
I have you at 200%. I can barely hear you.
How about now, motherfucker?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, because I sat back from the microphone. I wasn't like just put my sweet lips right up against the microphone for you.
Oh man. So anyway, so you find out that basically what happened was the responders kind of amassed at Morgantown, and the Scorch Beasts end up coming in and wiping them out. And you basically start at this point, which, as far as the Scorched story goes, is the end of the story. And you have to work your way back to the beginning of the story, which I do think is very interesting. Because you find out that the Morgantown got wiped out by the Scorch, but that's like the last major engagement with the Scorch that there has been. Since then, the Scorched haven't done anything major, because there hasn't been like a major group to go after. So you find out that the Scorched were at odds with the Brotherhood of Steel, but were trading with the Free States, and that's a whole nother storyline. The Free States, the Free States enters the main story for a little bit, but the Free States in general were a group of people who said, the world is absolutely going to end. You guys are all dumb shits, and you guys are going to ruin everything. Fuck you. We secede from the United States, build our bunkers, and we're going underground. We're not dealing with any of your shit. And they were led by a guy named Senator Blackwell. And they are considered traitors by the United States. And most people consider them, most like civilians consider them traitors. Like when you talk to the overseer, or you listen to her logs, she's like, Sam Blackwell and his traitorous Free States. I'm of the opinion, like, looking at it, I'm like, nah, those bitches did what was best for them, man. Like, just because you want to be salty about it that's your problem. They just leveraged their advantage and said, like, fuck that, we're not going to deal with your bullshit.
Also, leverage in Free States is sort of like the most American thing ever, so.
Yeah. So, like, anyway, so you basically follow the Free States, which follows mostly the story of this member of the Free States who, after the bombs fell, they were trying to create a Scorched detection thing, for the point that, like, they needed I'm trying to remember how, like, what they wanted to detect the Scorched because they were realizing the Scorched were a problem. They were sort of kind of working with the Brotherhood of Steel, but not really, because the Brotherhood you get to their part of the quest, you find out that the Brotherhood starts off very like nice to everybody, trading with everybody, making sure everyone's communities are doing well, giving people supplies and shit. And as the Scorched, as they start to do more and more like concentrated attacks on the Scorched beasts aren't sentient necessarily, but they're not stupid. So they're self-aware enough to realize, like, I don't know if it's necessarily that they are sentient, or that because they have brought humans into their thrall, into this hive mind, that the hive mind is now sentient. But there was enough information to know on their side that they were being targeted by a military force with actual tactics and strategy behind it. And as a result, they purposefully stopped attacking everyone else and just dove their entire zombie army onto the Brotherhood. And the Brotherhood, because they're fucking badasses, held out for a long ass time. But as they started to get thinner and thinner on their ability to hold out, they went from helping everyone to taking shit from everyone, because we're the ones defending you from everything anyway, so you should just give us your shit so we can do it better. And then
typical Brotherhood.
It really is. And then, of course, the Brotherhood gets overrun. And as soon as the Brotherhood gets overrun, the Scorched Beasts hit the Free States, because that's the next big major group. And the Free States held out for nowhere near as long as the Brotherhood. And then they hit the Raider clans up on the mountains, and then they hit the Responders. And this was all in response to the Brotherhood's initial aggression against them, which I'm not 100% sure how that goes down, because what I get is that the Scorched Beasts are kind of animals, and they just did whatever they were doing as animals. And as a result of that, it caused problems, because basically the Scorched Beasts are essentially dragons. So the Brotherhood had to get rid of them because they were just murking entire settlements. And it's worse because they murk an entire settlement, and half that settlement becomes an army for them. And so, to be fair, yeah, it's a plague. And yeah, you really don't want that plague to get out of West Virginia. And that's kind of the main contention you have. And so about at the end of your quest line, you hunt down and kill the Scorched Beast Queen, which can just get summoned again every 20 minutes. So I don't know if you actually kill it. The one thing that I do dislike about MMOs a lot of the time is you'll do something, and storyline wise, like, you've accomplished this great feat, and then like there's nothing in the game to sort of show that you accomplished that great feat, because the world hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. Because, we already made the game mechanics and they work this way, and they're not going to change just because you beat the boss. Yeah. Destiny, I feel like, had that problem too. Because you had this whole bit where you take back the Cosmodrome from the House of Devils, and then but the House of Devils are still there, and the Cosmodrome is not free. So whatever. But anyway, they do the same thing in Fallout 76. You beat the Scorched Beast Queen, and you murk most of the Scorched army, and there's still a bajillion Scorched, and you'll never run out of Scorched. Which I dislike.
To some degree, that's mostly just because it's a gameplay mechanic, and you have to have there to fight.
It's kind of like how in Fallout 4, you could spend a lot of time killing Mirelurks, and you'll still have more Mirelurks to kill.
Yeah, but I really wish the game could do something to show that you've really fucked with because the thing is, you have a bunch of other shit in the game already you could fight. The Scorched is specifically the story enemy, so it'd be nice if they did something specific about that, to kind of help it feel like you actually accomplished something. But of course you didn't kill all the Scorched Beasts, so it's not like they're gonna just totally go away. I just feel like there should be some ebb to that flow. But there's a lot of interesting sort of side stories and whatnot you can go off on. All the different all the different raider gangs have a story. One of the raider gangs, after Wastelanders, you get 2 new factions, which is Foundation, which are the settler faction, and fuck, what do they call it? They Crater.
Sure about that? Are you sure about that? You have Are you sure they're settlers? Because you have cryptids, and now you're introducing a faction called the Foundation. Sounds a little
Well, from what I understand, the faction is not called the Foundation. The faction is called the Settlers. They built a city that they called Foundation because it is going to be the foundation of them settling West Virginia.
That's what we said a second ago.
The storyline for them, which I haven't finished through all the way yet, is the Wastelanders main storyline is that you're trying to get into Vault 74 because Vault 74 is like, rather than the rest of these vaults, it's like an actual vault with money in it, specifically the entire gold stash of the United States of America, and everybody wants it, so you get to pick which faction gets it. There's a raider faction that sets up where there's an area of the game where there's like a crashed spaceship, and they call that area the crater, and in that area is where the raiders set up, because there's a lot of still structurally sound parts of the spaceship that they can just convert into living quarters and shit.
Really quick, speaking of craters, going back to Fallout New Vegas real quick, I'm so fucking confused still on the difference between Big Mountain and Big Empty.
Oh, it's very simple. Big Mountain was the name of the facility before the bombs dropped, and then after the bombs dropped and the scientists all became brains and lost a bunch of their intelligence, they just referred to it as Big MT because the abbreviation for mountain is MT.
So that's why they call it Big Empty.
Yes, because it's big.
Over time, people heard about Big MT
because it's Big MT and
Big Empty.
Yeah, they were like empty. Yeah, it's very simple.
Because I was like, I didn't get it at first.
The crafting system got an upgrade in 76. I'd agree with Zeta about a lack of unique weapons. There really is a lack of unique weapons in 76 as well. That I could think of like a few, and then they really missed the ball on some. So like, there's a side quest called the Mistresses of Mystery, and you get like a whole armor set and weapon set out of that quest. But then one of those weapons is a sword, and you get a specifically named sword, and you only get this sword in this quest line. You can't get it any other way, and it's just a Chinese officer sword. Like, bruh, just make a new model. Is it that hard? Like,
yeah. Are you kidding me?
What about the guitar sword?
Here's the thing that's worse about it. So to go hunt down a sword that's suitable to make into this this legendary weapon you're crafting, you're supposed to go hunt down the sword of Ulysses S. Grant, and somehow that's a Chinese officer sword.
Let me tell you why it's like that. It's because Bethesda does not pay their employees to be creative.
True.
It's because it just works, fam.
It's not it just works, it's it just works.
True facts.
That's funny.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
It's not a feature, it's a bug.
Yeah, agreed. Jesus, man, like just a little bit of work to make your world feel more real.
Why is it when you said Jesus, man, I thought of like a ridiculous Bible Man style superhero?
Jesus, man!
Wow, that's pretty insane.
Jesus, man. But anyway, is that all you have to say about Fallout 76?
I mean that's most of it. Yeah. I mean, I could talk more, but I feel like we're running out of time at this point.
We've been going for like 3 hours.
Yeah, it is 1 in the afternoon, and I feel like Beard probably needs to sleep at some point.
Yeah, I do have to work tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks ass.
It do.
Why do they make you work on your day off? It's
because
so
of our 4-man shift. Well, suffice to say, we're down 1 person on nights, so we all have to cover days now because we're missing somebody. So we're basically all working 6 days a week. And it's
Wasn't there a guy that comes in and helps cover on Sundays?
What's that?
Isn't there a guy that comes in and helps cover from a different site?
We've got one of our regular guys who covers on Sundays.
Well, if we're done talking about Fallout, we should probably say this has been the tutorial on Fallout.
Yeah,
sure has been.
If you learn something, it's probably the only episode you will learn something from.
We say that every episode, but hey, if you learn something, let us know in the comments and like this video and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends.
Share this video with your friends.
Please, we need likes. We need things.
And stuff. Please, the mighty algorithm.
Please, the algorithm. Make us famous on YouTube, please.
The great algorithm.
All hail the great algorithm.
All right.
Yeah. Everybody say goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.